Yes, welcome to Harris Field and Ed Chef Stadium in Lewiston, Idaho for opening day of the 65th Avista NAIA World Series. 10 teams battling it out over the next week for the right to be called national champions. And speaking of, the defending national champions help us get it started as the Georgia Gwinnett Grizzlies, seeded 8th this year, take on World Series first-timers, the Mid-American Nazarene Pioneers. Hi there, I'm Dave Cotton alongside former Gonzaga pitcher Billy Moon. It's great to have you with us for another year of the Avista NAIA World Series. It's going to be a great time, Billy. We look forward to it.
Yeah, it's always a fun time of year. Kick off Memorial Day and the long weekend, holiday weekend with some good baseball here.
And we think we've got a good matchup for you, at least statistically. It's the 8-9 matchup, and Georgia Gwinnett, it's a team, Billy, that likes to put pressure on teams.
Yeah, defending national champions, and they do it a little bit different way. They play small ball, with something you don't see a lot. 205 stolen bases on the year. That's about 3.5 per game. So look for them to put a lot of pressure on opposing defenses throughout this entire tournament.
Yeah, Jake Freese alone with 56 stolen bases on the season. Yeah, Georgia Gwinnett picking up right where they left off. Played the last game of the year here at Harris Field last year, obviously in the championship, and they help us get it going. Meantime, for Mid-American Nazarene, the temptation is to sort of say, well, they're the Cinderella, they're the newcomer, they were unranked in the final coaches poll, but this is a team that knocked off the third-ranked team in the country, Oklahoma City, to get here.
Yeah, arguably the hardest path to get to Lewiston, Idaho out of these 10 teams. They're playing their best baseball at the right time of year, and really that's what playoff baseball is all about. I mean, you can call them a Cinderella, but, I mean, They started 20th in the country, so they've got some talent as well.
Coming out of Kansas City, going to be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to it. It's Georgia Gwinnett against Mid-American Nazarene. Starting lineups and first pitch coming up next. Ed Chef Stadium, getting ready for Game 1 of the Avista NAIA World Series. And let's get you the Mid-American Nazarene batting order. It's Drew Woodley, the left fielder, leading off. Bryson Sherwood, the shortstop, batting in the 2-hole. Noah Castillo, the DH, batting third. Joshua Sandoval, the team leader in homers, doing the catching and batting cleanup. Dion Cornette, the third baseman, in the 5-hole, followed by Randy Fernandez, the second baseman. Josh Torrance, Ryan Leo, and Frank Vogel rounding out the batting order for the Pioneers. Setting the lineup in the outfield for Georgia Gwinnett is Josh Holt in left, Blaze O'Saban in center, Livingston Morris in right, around the infield left to right, Miles McKissick at third, Jake DeFries at short, Braxton Mcguire at second, J.D. Stubbs at first, Austin Bates will be doing the catching, and the starting pitcher today for Georgia Gwinnett will be Galvin Heltemus, 5'10" senior righty out of Fayetteville, Arkansas. This is his 15th appearance. He's made 11 starts, solid ERA at 3.31. In 68 innings, he's given up 2 home runs, team leading 84 strikeouts. Here we go. The first pitch of the Avista NAIA World Series is a curveball in there for a strike. Drew Woodley, sophomore from Overland Park, Kansas, a 317 batting average into the series. The 0-1. Fastball up and away.
Yeah, this is a well-constructed Georgia Cornette staff here where no arm has had more than 75 innings put on them throughout the year, so it's a very deep staff. This is one of the guys they've relied on all year. It'll be interesting to see as games get later and closer if we're in that situation, if they have a relatively short leash because they have so many trusted arms behind Heltemus.
A really good team ERA, to your point, Billy, 3.01. The 1-2 curveball bounces in there. Woodley was productive in the game that sent the Pioneers to Lewiston. He went 2 for 5 with a couple runs driven in, and 2 runs scored in that game against top-seeded Oklahoma City in the championship of the bracket in Oklahoma City. The fastball is just up and in, and the count goes forward.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great pitch. 2-2, he threw a curveball to get that second strike, buried one with 2 strikes, and then that fastball inside, he just missed, but it looks a heck of a lot faster, and there it is again. That time he got the corner for the first strikeout of the game.
Woodley thought he walked, but the umpire calls it a strike, and good start here for Heltemus and Georgia Gwinnett.
That's a good job, and not a lot of glove movement there from the catcher as well. Gave the umpire the best view possible to see that clip the corner. Not afraid to go inside, especially with metal bats. That's something that you don't see very often at the collegiate level, because with that metal bat, I mean, it is quite the weapon. I mean, you can get jammed and still hit a ball 380 feet.
There's Bryson Sherwood, the shortstop, 5'11" junior from Elkhart, Indiana, coming in with a hefty 339 average. And Billy, you see the catcher Austin Bates kind of with the Tony Pena form there to get down for that low fastball, kind of kicking out that left leg.
Yeah, and the reason catchers do that, I mean, one, as you could expect, saves the knees a little bit over a long course of season and career, but also that low strike, the ability to get, when you go to catching camps and you teach how to frame, you want to get the thumb under the baseball, especially on those low strikes, so you can pull it up for the umpire to get a good look to see if it clipped the corner or not. And the lower you get, the easier it is. So Austin Bates, he's using that to his advantage. Player of the year there, so he's a good one back there.
He's been kicking out the left leg, kicking out the right. Now the 2-2. Fastball grounded foul. Mid-American Nazarene coming in with a 39-16 record. Champions of, as we mentioned, the opening round Oklahoma City bracket, knocking off number 1 seed and 3rd-ranked Oklahoma City, the regular season champs of the Heart of America Conference. A 2-2 is fouled left side, giving chase. Left field is Joshua Holt, but he'll go out of play. Yeah, they're the regular season champs of the Heart of America Conference, but were knocked off in the conference tournament championship game by Central Methodist. Those of you who are familiar with the Avista NAIA World Series, that's the team, Central Methodist, that Georgia Gwinnett knocked off in the championship game here last year. Here's the 2-2 off speed. Just misses low and inside.
Great at bat by Bryson Sherwood to start off, and even though Drew Ridley struck out looking, he did get it to a full count. So this is the second consecutive batter to get to a full count, and really putting a lot of pressure on Heltemus here with a nice drive to center.
And that's going to drop in. Yeah. And into second base with a stand-up double is Bryson Sherwood. Team leader in doubles, adds to that total. He now has 18. He had 2 in the opening round Oklahoma City bracket. Keeps it going here in the first inning of the Avista NAIA World Series.
Yeah, well struck. The center fielder had him playing a little bit to the opposite field there, so that gave it the opportunity to sneak down because it was more center than right center. And obviously O'Saban out there with the speed can track down pretty much anything. But, yeah, the shift played to their disadvantage there.
So now here's the DH, Noah Castillo, with a good opportunity to put the Pioneers on top here in the first inning of their first appearance at the Avista NAIA World Series. First pitch swinging. Noah Castillo, a freshman from Whittier, California. 375 batting average. And is also one of the starting pitchers on this Pioneers team. Started 13 games this year and had a strong 7-1 mark. So we'll see him on the bump here in Lewiston as well.
Yeah, you're seeing more and more of that, those two-way guys. It used to be, hey, you pick one, you specialize in one, but more and more you're starting to see guys, hey, you got a good arm, well, we need innings, right? And this Mid-American Nazarene, we talked about Georgia Gwinnett having a very deep staff. Mid-American Nazarene, not so much. So having a guy that can fill in to the 3-hole and be one of your best hitters and get on, be a starting pitcher for you is big for the roster construction.
Game time temperature 65 degrees. We're expecting to battle perhaps some showers through the day. There were some thunderstorms that came through last night, but more showers forecast for today. But it is absolutely beautiful right now, especially, Billy, when you consider last year was probably 90 degrees this time of the morning. That one gets away from the catcher, and Sherwood will scamper to third.
Yeah, we got Gavin's having a little problem out of the stretch right now. I mean, it's going to be a long game, so he'll get settled in, but couple breaking balls left up in the zone. Just body's getting a little bit quicker than his arm there, so he's leaving the release point a little early, and then that fastball was left up as well. So we'll see, because typically at third base that you're not a threat to steal, if that lets Gavin kind of refocus on the hitter here and come back and get Noah.
Mid-American Nazarene hitting .330 as a team. Good hitter's pitch. This one driven left field. That one's got a chance, and it is gone. What a start for Mid-American Nazarene. A 2-run ride by Noah Castillo, and it's 2-0 Pioneers.
Yeah, Castillo knew it right away. He did not get out of that box too quickly, and the really only question was it going to stay fair, because he got a little bit out front of that. Did exactly what you should with a 3-1 pitch. You saw the fastball, get the barrel out front, and good things happen when you have great approach, just like that.
8th homer of the year. RBIs number 47 and 48. And Mid-American Nazarene, as we said, not to be taken lightly, even though they come in unranked. They have some confidence, including the home plate stomp there. Knocking off Oklahoma City really has injected some confidence into this team. And here's Joshua Sandoval, the catcher.
Yeah, it was a great swing. You saw it got a little bit out front, and that's why he had a little bit of hook to that ball down the line. But he hit it so hard, hit it hard enough to have that hook go after the foul pole rather than earlier on. And this is a good call by Austin Bates. You can see why he's the stalwart of this team. Get Gavin settled down here. He started off really well, hitting both sides of the plate, staying down in the zone. And ever since that double, he's been elevated with every pitch. So go out and settle him down. Understand it's a long game. You got 9 frames to come back, and just get one at a time.
A number of pitchers that Georgia Gwinnett could have gone with, including Rob Hamby, who came into an 8-2 record, 2.75 ERA, but it's Heltemus with this 3.31 ERA. Sandoval takes that one in there. I wasn't sure if he liked that. It was right on the lower outside corner. It's 1-1. Heltemus giving up now 3 home runs on the season. Good strikeout to walk ratio, 4-1, but right now he's finding himself behind here, 2-0 in the early going. The 1-2. Sandoval, the 6'3 senior from Manatee, Puerto Rico hitting 307 with that team leading mark of 15 homers. The 2-2 fastball popped up and it'll go out of play. Sandoval in the opening round Oklahoma City bracket, big home run against Oklahoma City in game 2 of that opening round. They gave the Pioneers a 5-3 lead in the 6th and went on to win that game 6-5. Here's the 2-2 fastball, fought off.
Really great at bats by Mid-America Nazarene to start off this World Series here. I mean, battling every at bat's been at least 5 pitches. You've got multiple foul balls. Sherwood with the double who started everything, and Castillo here. That was a tough pitch. That's a fastball inside after painting a few on the outer half. So it's a good job of just live to fight another day, go to the next pitch, and all of a sudden you work yourself a full count.
Sandoval also team leader in slugging percentage, you might expect for the player, the first team All-Heart of America Conference catcher who laces that one foul and leads the team in homers.
Yeah, that one had no chance of staying fair. Noah Castillo was hoping his would stay fair. That one was foul from the barrel. He got barrel to it. If it was fair, it would have been well out of here, but way ahead of that one, 3-2.
Mid-America Nazarene, located in Olathe, Kansas, just outside of Kansas City, fouled away again as well. An enrollment of 1,500. And we're told by Coach Ryan Thompson, this team, as you might imagine, is incredibly excited to be here. They were knocked off by Concordia in the championship game of the opening round last year, so they were knocking on the door, and they broke through. Here's the 3-2. Little number back to the pitcher, and Heltemus will underhand it to Stubbs, and there are 2 away here in the first.
Yeah, that was a good pitch. 3-2 typically, especially with a guy that's struggling here, you would expect a fastball just to get it over the plate, but you dipped in a nice little curveball, and it was well located. Got Castillo out front and got weak contact for the second out.
So here's Dion Cornette Jr. from San Nicolas, Aruba. The team leading 52 runs driven in. Fastball to start him off is in there for a strike. Cornette, first team All-Heart of America Conference third baseman. That one fisted down the left field line. It'll go foul.
I have been very impressed with the fastball command by Heltemus outside of the 3 and 4 hitters where he lost a little bit there. He's come in and he's commanded both sides of the plate and down in the zone as well. So that is a positive thing to build on throughout this game if you're Gavin Heltemus.
Popped up on the infield, and it'll be the shortstop Jake DeFries hauling it in for the third out. But a great start for the Pioneers. A 2-run blast by Noah Castillo. It's the Pioneers on top. Welcome back to the Lewis Clark Valley. Beautiful shot of the confluence of rivers here in the valley. A beautiful day. We're hoping it stays that way. Let's get you the starting lineups for the Georgia Gwinnett Grizzlies. It's Braxton Mcguire leading off and playing second. Jake DeFries, the shortstop, in the 2-hole. Livingston Morris, the right fielder, hitting third. Chase Evans, the DH, hitting cleanup. Austin Bates, the catcher, batting fifth, followed by J.D. Stubbs, the first baseman. Miles Mckissick, the third baseman. Batting eighth is Joshua Holt, the left fielder, and Blaze O'Saban, the center fielder, hitting ninth. Let's set the Mid-American Nazarene defense for you. Left to right in the outfield, Drew Whitley in left. Ryan Leo in center. Josh Torrance in right field. Around the infield, left to right, Dion Cornette, Bryson Sherwood, Randy Fernandez, Frank Vogel. Joshua Sandoval behind the plate, and getting the start for the Pioneers is junior righty from Santa Maria, California, Zach Trevino, making his 16th start of the season, 18th appearance overall, as Braxton Mcguire takes the first pitch in there for a strike.
Yep, Trevino is their ace and their horse. Over 90 innings on the year, 108 strikeouts. This is the guy they turn to when they need it most, and they're looking to get off on the right foot here at the Vista World Series.
Told by Coach Ryan Thompson, power sinker and slider that is late. And he goes with his sinkers in and sliders away, and splits those half and half roughly.
And he's got his hands full, because the key to Georgia Gwinnett, and this is going to sound very simplistic, but keep them off the bases. Obviously, you want to do that as a pitcher, but with 205 stolen bases, that's almost 3.5 a game. That is unheard of, and that's a lot of pressure that they can put on Joshua behind the plate and the defense as a whole. So a lot of teams speed up and down the lineup. They really need to limit those base runners if they're going to have a chance to hold on to this early lead.
Mcguire, one of them, with 23 stolen bases. This one chopped along the first base line. Trevino's going to have to hurry and mishandles it. It'll likely go as a base hit anyway with the speed of Mcguire.
And there you go. Not just stolen bases, but it's applying pressure when the ball's in play as well. And, I mean, 5 pitches in, you have that pressure on Trevino to get an out. And now he's going to have to focus on not only the hitter, but Mcguire over there at first base.
Mcguire, 23 of 34 on stolen base attempts. Still waiting for the ruling on whether that was a hit. I've got to believe it will be a hit.
Yeah, they did end up giving him a hit.
Even if he fields it cleanly, may not have gotten the speedy Mcguire at first. At any rate, it'll be Jake DeFries now, a junior from Crown Point, Indiana. Comes in with a 324 batting average. And it gets away from the catcher, and quickly to second goes Mcguire. So not the stolen base that we predicted could happen, but the wild pitch / passed ball there. We'll see how they rule it. Either way, Mcguire at second.
It just, the presence of speed and the presence of pressure can apply these things that you don't necessarily see in the box score, right? So, I mean, it was a backed up slider up and away, which is something that, I mean, Joshua Castillo has probably caught those 100 out of 100 times, but just the mere presence of, hey, is he going, maybe taking his eye off the ball a little bit sooner to see if he is breaking from first base, those are the types of things that Georgia Gwinnett feasts on. And it's played in their favor, and that's the reason why they're here.
DeFries lost a broken thumb last year prior to the opening round, so he was not able to take the ride, at least on the field, with the Grizzlies. He was here, obviously, supporting the team, but he, among the Grizzlies, has to be the most thrilled to be here. There's no guarantees, even if you win the national championship, you're going to get back.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are things that you have to take this as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and play that way. And unfortunately, that was taken away from him too early.
And he starts his Vista NAIA World Series beautifully with what looked to be a sacrifice bunt, but gets on as a base hit here. Now there's first and third with nobody out here for the Grizzlies. And that'll bring up the right fielder, Livingston Morris, one of our favorites here in the broadcast booth. This was a home run that he hit last year. You think he knew it was gone, Billy?
Yeah, I think he had a pretty good idea when the ball left the bat that he didn't have to hustle too far out of the box. He was able to lumberjack his way over to first base and see that thing fly.
Takes the first one off speed in there for a strike.
A favorite to us, maybe not so much to the opposing team and opposing pitcher there.
Yeah, anytime you get the admiration and bat flip to boot, you're not exactly winning friends on the other side. He's that one player on Georgia Gwinnett. You know, they like to play the small ball, and they've got their share of home runs. But Livingston Morris is the guy that can take you deep here, and you can give him a lead with a home run here. It's popped up, though, on the infield, and it's first baseman Frank Vogel recording, at least if you can call it this early, a pretty good out, big out here for Nazarene in the first.
Yeah, no, that's a huge out. You get ahead, you keep soft away. Livingston Morris was trying to give the team the lead there with all three of those pitches, and that's a big play because I wouldn't be surprised if DeFries runs with his 56 stolen bases, but it does keep the double play in order. And if there is one or two guys that you can double up, it's the guy at the dish, Chase Evans.
Chase Evans, the DH, sophomore from Noonan, Georgia. Hitting just under 300, but he's second on the team in home runs with 8. First pitch from Toronto is in there for a strike. Georgia Gwinnett in their 5th appearance in the Avista NAIA World Series, in this just their 10th year of the program. It's really an astounding story. First season in 2013. Made it to at least the semifinals in the past 2 World Series. Last year going 5-0 en route to the national championship.
Well, and Jeremy Sheetinger, the head coach, has only been there for 3 years. This is his 3rd year, and he's already won a national championship.
And there's your first stolen base of what promises to be many of the World Series for Gwinnett, as Jake DeFries out the second.
Just his 57th on the year, so he's one of those guys that clogs up the bases. I can't even say that straight face. 57 stolen bases, that is impressive.
Grounded right side. Yeah, you know, the big leagues play roughly twice as many games as at this level, and yet you see almost twice as many stolen bases at this level by the leaders as they do at the major league level.
Yeah, and when you're hitting over 300, I mean, you have a lot of opportunities being on base as much as DeFries is, but I mean, still, just extremely impressive.
Fisted at the second baseman Fernandez, but a run will come home. So an RBI ground out for Evans, and the Grizzlies are on the board.
And that's a great approach by Chase Evans, down in the count. Really, contact wins at that point. I mean, yes, you would love to get on base via a base hit and maybe score 2 there, but first things first is you got to get 1 run in, especially with a guy on third, nobody out. Wasn't able to with Livingston Morris at the dish. Just getting a ground ball, Mid-America Nazarene was going to concede the run, so take what they give you, and that's exactly what Chase Evans did.
And now here's Austin Bates, the catcher, player of the year in the Continental Athletic Conference. Partly due to his leadership and his toughness. Numbers maybe don't pop off the screen, but as the catcher and the leader of this team, they saw the value of that. He was named that player of the year.
Yeah, I mean, you said it perfectly there. I mean, you look at it, you look at, who's the player of the year? It's Austin Bates. You look at the stat sheet, and you're like, what? Why? But it's the eye test, right? You saw it just in the top half of the first inning. Talking about being able to frame those low strikes, getting Heltmus through an inning where he struggled through over 30 pitches. That is value that you don't see in the box score. And by the way, he's hitting 5-hole for one of the best teams in the country. So he's no slouch at the dish, but he does all the intangibles as well as has the talent to carry this pitching staff, this deep pitching staff, as well as contribute offensively.
Yeah, he's started virtually every game behind the plate for the Grizzlies the last 3 years. But here's the 1-2. Lifted, a lazy fly into right field, and Josh Torrance hauls it in. But Georgia Gwinnett takes the cap off their scoring. Getting a run home here in the bottom of the first. We head to the top of the second. It's 2-1, Mid-America Nazarene. Its 10th year But the 50th year for the program, and they actually celebrated earlier this season. About 130 baseball alumni came back. It was their first trip to Lewiston, and Coach Ryan Thompson said he spent about an hour responding to texts and phone calls and all that after they beat Oklahoma City. Kind of surprised them in that championship game of the opening round to get
Well, it's
here.
got to be a large pool of alumni, too. I mean, Coach Ryan Thompson's been with the Pioneers more than Jordan. Even though you may not be a player at that point, you always want to see your alma mater have a ton of success and reach new highs. And everyone plays a part in that, whether they're on this team or they were part of previous programs that built to this point. It's just a fun time to be a part of a program like this.
Randy Fernandez, the second baseman, grounding out to start the second here for the Pioneers.
That's a good start for Gavin. This is one thing. It's a game within a game, but also a game within a series. You obviously want to get started strong, go 1-0. It's a much clearer path throughout this World Series. But the biggest thing for Gavin is, I mean, I know the none of this World Series, but if he can continue this, it's going to give Gwinnett a better and better chance to put their arms in the best situations going forward.
Yeah, much better start to this inning. 2 up, 2 down. And Heltzimus now will face the number 8 hitter, Ryan Leo, the center fielder. A senior from Queens, New York, coming in with a .343 average. Laced to right field. Will it get down? And it'll actually get past Livingston Morris. And this is going to be extra bases for Leo.
Leo can run, so they better get it in quick to hold him at third.
He's going to come into third, standing. Probably will go as a single on a 2-base error. Either way, Leo standing on third here. Tough break for Georgia Gwinnett. Really a play that perhaps kind of got betwixt and between here, Billy.
Yeah, and that's one where you have to it's tough. You always want to make every play. But with 2 outs especially, you want to keep that ball in front of you at all costs. And that's one Livingston off the bat. Clearly he thought he could get to it. It sunk a little bit more than maybe he thought. And this is something that Georgia Gwinnett has struggled with at times throughout this year. I mean, they've given up 71 unearned runs. So it's a team that is not built defensively to really get everything. And, I mean, it's been really amazing that this pitching staff has been able to fight through that. And there you go. There's a pass ball that scores. I mean, that's a run right there. Every run is huge at this level. And at this point in the season, that's one that Georgia Gwinnett has just given Mid-America there. And we'll see if that comes back to bite them late in this game.
And they ruled a pass ball. And so Leo scampers home with the third run of the game for the Pioneers. Showing no signs of nerves here in this very first game in Lewiston. We'll bring up Frank Vogel, the first baseman. By the way, that was ruled a triple. The Leo shot into right field that got past Morris.
Well, I guess he didn't touch it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to give him an error on that when you just misread a ball.
Vogel, a freshman out of Farmington, Minnesota. Big swing, misses. Saw his 10-game hitting streak snapped in the championship game of the Heart of America Conference Tournament. Hasn't had a hit since then. Gone over 13. The 3-2 grounded to short. Should end the inning, and does. But Nazarene scratches out another run, and the Pioneers taking a 3-1 lead as we head to the bottom of the second here at the Avista NAIA World Series. Georgia Gwinnett getting ready to take its second at bat. And let's kind of give you a little primer on the Grizzlies, located in Lawrenceville, Georgia, just northeast of Atlanta. Big enrollment, 13,500. Play in the newly formed Continental Athletic Conference, formed by teams that were previously independent. 45-14 overall record. And as we mentioned earlier, their fifth Avista NAIA World Series appearance in just their 10th season of existence. And they are the defending champions here in Lewiston, but trailing Mid-American Nazarene and pitcher Zach Trevino 3-1 here in the bottom of the second. J.D. Stubbs, though, leading off. A little flare into left center field for a first pitch base hit.
Yeah, and I mean, coming from Georgia, that's a long ways to travel. But they did a little bit different. I mean, this is a team that got to the Pacific Northwest on Monday, practiced at Gonzaga, practiced at Washington State, and really it's just getting used to the time change and the jet lag of traveling 2,500, 3,000 miles. It's a different approach. I know a lot of teams, and quite honestly, it's dictated on cost, having to do an extra day or two of lodging. Costs do play a part of it, but clearly, I mean, it worked for them last year, so why change it up at this point?
Yeah, I mean, everything down to if you can remember what you were wearing on certain days.
Yes.
As Miles McKissick, the third baseman, will take his first at bat of the Avista NAIA World Series. Junior from Delray Beach, Florida. And a strong opening round at the plate, going 5 for 13 with a homer in the 3 Grizzlies wins. They sailed through that opening round Lawrenceville bracket, going 3-0, outscoring opponents 37-13, and they hammered Hope International. It looked like he was hit by that.
Yeah, he was, and they're trying to give him an out there. And this is a team we talked about at the top. You're going to see a lot of players square around a bunt. This top to bottom, this team bunts, gets extra bases, and gets free bases right there. That's exactly what they were looking for. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see another bunt here to get 2 runners in scoring position.
And with nobody out, that could be the case, as Trevino now finds himself a couple runners on here for the Grizzlies. Just to complete that thought, yeah, Hope International was the #1 seed in that Lawrenceville bracket. The Grizzlies hammered them 13-1 in the championship game. And if you're wondering why they are the 8th seed here as the defending champions, that's part of it. And then also they were just 1-5 against teams here in Lewiston. They don't feel disrespected, they say. They say they're going to get everybody's best this year. They've gotten it all year.
Yeah, well, and you look at an entire body of work that they are the defending champions, but at the same time, that's 2021. This is 2022, and you have a lot of talent here in Lewiston, Idaho, coming in for this World Series. And yeah, you shouldn't feel disrespected because there's a lot of very good teams here.
This is Joshua Holt with a great opportunity, the 5'9" sophomore from Hampton, Georgia. Team leader in triples this year with 5, but he squares the bunt, now pulls it back, swings and misses.
Yeah, and there's, not to change the subject, but going along with them coming here on Monday and getting used to the time change, there's really 2 pictures in my mind when I think of Georgia Gwinnett, and that is, 1, Livingston Morris walking down the line with the bat on his shoulder, and 2, there was they posted a picture on Twitter before the 2021 World Series of them practicing at Gonzaga University, and they were all laying down behind home plate. This is a team that takes a very different approach. They're very forthright with their approach. They don't have any secrets, but they meditate as a team daily. And it makes a lot of sense because baseball is a very mental game. And the ability to get your mind right coming into, especially in a tournament or a World Series with this kind of pressures, having your mind right is a huge advantage.
Well, Joshua Holt's mind was right there. He singles, so now the bases are loaded. Nobody out here in the bottom of the second for Georgia Gwinnett. Yeah, the Grizzlies, they do take that different approach. They take a lot of pride in it. They say getting their best version of themselves, that's one of the ways to do it is the mental side, and that is interesting. They'll just lay down and visualize at practice. And a quiet place on campus may not be the baseball field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, there's a few spots on the Georgia Gwinnett campus that they meet as a team and do that. And it makes a lot of sense, as I mentioned. And if you can get the team buy-in, it's an extra added, like, hey, no one does this, we do. It's worked for us, so why would we change it? And, I mean, when you're coming off when half the seasons you've had a program here in the World Series and you're coming off a national championship, it's really easy to convince the newcomers to buy into that. It works.
Blaze O'Saban with a great opportunity here. He's the number 9 hitter, is the center fielder. A junior from Warrenton, Virginia, though, in an 0-2 hole here. Left field. Will it drop in? Yes. 1 run is coming home. Here's the throw to the plate, and he's safe. 2 runs come in. Ball game is tied.
That was a great read over there by Mckissick on second base. It was hit off the end of the bat, and it looked as if he knew it was going to drop. That was a close play. I think that if he had laid out, there could have been an opportunity to catch that. Definitely close enough to where a runner on second base should hesitate, but he saw it right away, and boom, he was no more than 5 feet behind the runner at third base trying to score there.
It's a great job by O'Saban getting the 2 runs home. And Holt over to third, and O'Saban out to second with the throw to the plate. Pretty good throw, just couldn't be handled. I don't know if they would have got him anyway. At any rate, that'll bring up the top of the order here. It's Braxton Mcguire, who singled and scored in the first.
Yeah, you got the entire bottom of the lineup that's done all this damage, and then you flip it over, 2 runs in already, 2 in scoring position, and now you got the top of the lineup. One other thing on that throw, I mean, it was a good throw, as you mentioned, but the catcher didn't catch it cleanly because he was trying to go for the tag. It didn't get too far away from him, but the heads-up base running that Georgia Gwinnett has shown all season, all of a sudden, rather than first and second, you've got second and third. They took that extra 90 feet on both ends. Those are the winning plays. We may not have seen it defensively.
Who singled and stole a base last inning. Got Georgia Gwinnett with a philosophy of barrels, bases, and bunts. Get the barrel on the bat to drive the ball or put it in play at the very least. Be aggressive and smart on the base paths and create pressure with bunts and small ball. They've really done all of those things so far.
Yeah, they have. I mean, they're playing their game. They're not trying to play outside of themselves, which you can. There's a tendency to do that in high-pressure situations or on big stages like the World Series here. But they're not. They're sticking to their – I mean, you got one of your best hitters right now, guy on third base, and he squares to bunt on the first pitch. So that just shows you that Georgia Gwinnett is saying, hey, this is us. We don't care what anybody says or thinks. We're going to play our game because it's gotten us here.
Trevino behind, and looked like he might have hit him. Nope, bounced in front. Yeah, you talked about traveling to Lewiston early. Spent time in Spokane, practicing at Gonzaga. They said that they like getting here early. They like getting to all the hot spots, your Waffles and More, your Effie's Tavern, and really turn Lewiston into Lawrenceville. Interesting philosophy.
If you're comfortable, I mean, it's that old adage, you look good, you feel good, you play good. And part of feeling good is being comfortable. And not only getting an idea of what the surroundings are with the stadium and the ins and outs and maybe some nooks and crannies that are maybe unique to Harris Field, but also getting a sense of the community. I mean, this is a big event for Lewiston, and the entire town of Lewiston is behind this event and this World Series, and getting immersed in that, I mean, it just adds to that level of comfortability.
30th time Lewis Clark State College has hosted. A couple years ago, went over 1 million fans coming through the gates total over the years. And a pretty good crowd on hand for the very first, 8:30 game on a Friday to lead things off. Well, some people maybe starting their Memorial Day weekend early, traveling here from Georgia or the Kansas City area for Mid-American Nazarene. Here's the 3-2 just outside, and he walked to Freeze.
That's a really good at-bat there. He gets 7 pitches. Fell behind. Trevino fell behind early, but battled his way back. And DeFreeze fouled off a pitch and was able to get to first. I wouldn't be surprised if he's at second base here in 2 or 3 pitches.
That'll bring up Livingston Morris, who had that tough play in right field last inning. As a little mound chat for Mid-American Nazarene as Trevino talks it over. His last start, it wasn't stellar. It came against Oklahoma City in one of the earlier games in that Oklahoma City opening round bracket. Gave up 7 hits over 6 2/3. He did strike out 9. He was the winning pitcher, but maybe wasn't on his game. But he did come back, pitch the final inning of the clincher that sent the Pioneers to Lewiston, throwing a perfect 9th. He only had 1 day of rest. He told Coach, hey, the time is,
we need to get to Lewiston, so I'm there. I'm available.
I'll worry about my arm in July. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, and that's, I mean, especially with a team 3rd in the country in Oklahoma City. I mean, getting a win is, hey, that's the goal, right? And I mean, he struck out 9, gave his team, kept him in it. Yeah, there was some traffic on the bases, but he was there. I mean, and that's what he's done all year for him.
Fly ball, routine to right field. It's Torrance hauling it in, tagging at 3rd, and coming home with the 5th run of the game is O'Sabin. 5-3 Grizzlies here in the 2nd.
Yeah, that play at home was a lot closer than I thought it was. I mean, I thought that ball was deep enough to score, which it was, but right fielder Torrance had a heck of an arm there to make it very close at home plate. And the one thing he did have the advantage of was DeFruz was running on the pitch, so there was no chance for him to tag. So he had the ability to kind of lay it out and see if he can get that 3rd out at home plate.
Here's Chase Evans, the DH. Had that RBI ground out in the 1st inning. There goes the runner, and he is in there. So DeFruz stealing his 58th base of the season. About an 85% success rate. So Georgia Gwinnett, but pretty much everything we've talked about to this point, they really are backing us up, making us look good, I guess.
Yeah, they're really following the script, which we really appreciate up here.
1-0 to Evans. Did he go around?
Looks like home plate umpire called him on the go around. No need to check. So the rule is never make the 3rd out at 3rd base, especially with a left-handed hitter up. It's a clear path for the catcher to throw. But there are exceptions to every rule, and DeFruz is one of those exceptions. So although I think the chances are still low, there could be an opportunity to steal 3rd base here as well.
Came into the game 2nd in the nation in steals. School record 56 coming in, now has 58. Broke that in the opening round. Fastball is low and away. So DeFruz, after missing last year because of that broken thumb, meaning the opening round and the Vista NAIA World Series, did start with a couple stolen bases in his first 2 plate appearances. The 2-2 meantime to Evans outside.
And it looks like DeFruz has learned from that experience. He's got the oven mitt out there protecting that thumb. Got to find a way to stay on the field for the Vista World Series here.
This will be the 42nd pitch for Trevino. Here's the 3-2. And step off, look the runner back. If you are a pitcher for Mid-American Nazarene in this game, your head has got to be on a swivel.
Yeah, absolutely. And it takes your focus away from the hitter, and that is the #1 goal of the pitcher. I mean, it's hard to get batters out. It's nearly impossible to get batters out consistently when you're trying to worry about other things. And DeFruz over there, I mean, dust is getting kicked up. I mean, he is not wasting. I mean, he's not trying to keep any energy in there for later. I mean, he's shuffling. I mean, he's a basketball player on defense out there trying to run the bases.
It's all pent up from last year, not being able to play in the Vista NAIA World Series. 2nd walk issued by Trevino. And that'll bring up Austin Bates. 9th batter of the inning for the Grizzlies. He flew out to right field to end the last inning. 4 runs home for the Grizzlies. A big answer here in the bottom of the 2nd. Fisted back to the pitcher, and Trevino throws it away. And that's trouble. DeFruz will come home. Will another runner come home? Chase Evans digging for the plate. 2 runs come home on the throwing error by Trevino.
And that's a dagger, not only to get out of the inning, but it's been a long inning. His pitch count's rising, as you mentioned, and the ability to put it in your own hands and get that third out and just throw it down the line, that's a tough one.
We talked about how Mid-American Nazarene got off to a great start. Looked like there weren't any nerves. And this has been anything but a calm inning for the Pioneers.
Yeah, and it looks like the first baseman, Frank Vogel, got to first base a little late, and therefore getting there late didn't have an opportunity to set his feet and get his feet right to stretch appropriately for that ball, reducing his catch radius, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, the throw wasn't on target, but it looked like a ball, if he was there on time, had an opportunity to be caught.
So here's J.D. Stubbs, who started off this inning with a single and a run scored. Runner at third, making it all the way there on the wild throw by Trevino. First error of the ball game for either team. Fastball is low. Bates from Ossining, New York, the senior, is really the epitome of toughness. We're told he was hit by a ball in the neck this year. It actually stopped blood flow, passed out in the dugout, but he was able to come back around, and the epitome of toughness came back into the game. That is living toughness right there.
Yeah, and that's where the re-entry rule comes in and creates a great story. This is one thing that maybe our viewers don't know at the NAIA level. There isn't a re-entry rule, so a starter can be pulled or pinch hit for or pinch ran for and re-enter the game just once. But they have the ability to finish the game, and that without that rule wouldn't have been that great story.
Well hit, right field. Does it stay fair? Foul ball. Ruled just foul. The Grizzlies bench was ready to erupt. Stubbs, meantime, saying, "You got to be kidding me." But they rule it a foul ball.
And that's a tough play because it was hooking towards the line, and it was hit so well that it was over the foul pole, so there was no opportunity to hit it. And, you know, I mean, that's one of those, I would tend to side with the umpire there. He had the best view out of anybody. He was halfway down, or halfway to the wall out there. But, yeah, that's a tough play. Obviously Georgia Gwinnett wants that to be fair, but I think the right call was made.
Coach Jeremy Sheetinger out to talk about it. Now the umpires are going to have a little chat here. So Sheetinger, I guess, at least said, hey, can you guys at least talk about it, which is a fair point.
And I would say, I mean, I don't want to get ahead here, but I would say this is more just a formality. Say, okay, yeah, we'll get together. But really, he had the best view. Home plate umpire may have had an okay view. But, yeah, the other two in there, they're going to stick with it. I think that's just – it was too close to call.
One thing in the umpire's defense, the foul poles, some people like to call them fair poles, here at Harris Field at Sheff Stadium are not the highest foul poles that you'll ever see in your life.
Yeah. And that's where it comes into play right there.
So we'll do it again here. J.D. Stubbs almost had himself a 2-run ride, but it's a 2-2 count. Lifted left side out of play. Stubbs nearly had himself his 5th home run of the year.
It's hard to reset mentally after you think you hit a 2-run jack, and all of a sudden you're back at the plate trying to fight 2-2. So it'll be interesting to see how he completes this at bat.
Grounded right side, Fernandez, and that will end the inning. But a big one for Georgia Gwinnett. They put up a 6 spot. We head to the top of the 3rd. The score is 7-3 Grizzlies. game of the Avista NAIA World Series. And we welcome you back to Harris Field at Sheff Stadium. And Galvin Heltemus, loving life, Billy, watching all that he watched from the dugout. You'll take a long break when your team's putting up runs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you get spotted 7 runs after 2 innings after giving up a 2-run shot in the top half of the first. I mean, this is a great opportunity for Gavin. He did a good job this past inning resetting, but it's ever more important to, like we talked about, lengthen your outing, save the bullpen for the rest of this World Series, but also keep the momentum in your dugout. Get in there, throw strikes, get quick 3 outs, and all of a sudden you've got Mid-America Nazarene really backpedaling, trying to kind of gain that momentum back.
Yeah, if you're the Pioneers, you're looking to do what you did in the first inning. You scored 2 runs right out of the gate. It's Drew Woodley, the leadoff hitter, who struck out in that first inning, but that was followed by a double by Bryson Sherwood and a homer by Noah Castillo. Those are the next 2 batters to follow. Georgia Gwinnett, one of 6 teams that have won national championships, and that actually is the most in the Avista NAIA World Series history. Lewis Clark State, Faulkner, Southeastern, Tennessee Wesleyan, Georgia Gwinnett, and Bellevue are all here. All have won at least one national championship. The 1-2 popped up right side behind first base. It'll be J.D. Stubbs. 1 up, 1 down for the Pioneers.
Again, locating that fastball inside. Drew really got caught looking on that one, and then got in his kitchen a little bit, fisted him with 2 strikes. Gavin Heltemus has done a very good job of commanding both sides of the plate.
Heltemus so far, 47 pitches, and if you're wondering, Trevino, his counterpart, with 35 pitches alone the last inning, now has 55 as Bryson Sherwood, who doubled last time up, takes the first one in there, a fastball for a strike.
What a difference an at-bat can make. We got the center fielder, O'Sabin, now basically playing where that ball was dropped in the first inning on that double.
Golfed to the left side in the left field, and it's Joshua Holt hauling it in. So a good start here to the third for Heltemus.
Yeah, just as in the second inning, got 2 quick outs. Let's see if he can complete this inning. Mid-America was able to come back after the 2 quick outs and score in the top half of the second. Let's see if Heltemus can complete the inning in a quick fashion and get his team back in the dugout looking to score more.
His work will be cut out as he faces Noah Castillo, who had the 2-run bomb in the first inning. We'll take a look at it. If you're just joining us, got every ounce of this one. Kind of a shoulder-to-shoulder hack. Did the job.
Yeah, well, he got fooled. He was up in the count, was looking for a fastball, but got that curveball and was able to keep the barrel in the zone long enough.
This time a good inning for Heltemus, a 1-2-3 inning. Head to the bottom of the third. It's Georgia Gwinnett on top by a 4 spot. Well, we talked about the number of pitches for Zach Trevino thus far. 55 pitches, and his day is done. It'll be Christian Hurtado coming on, the junior lefty from Pittsburgh, California, with a 4.61 ERA. He's 7-3. He's Made 10 starts on the season. This one obviously not one of those. He does have one save. 3-to-1 strikeout walk ratio.
Yeah, and this is one, it's interesting strategy. 55 pitches for Trevino. Really, they're looking at it and say, hey, let's get him out of there, and maybe we can get him on a little bit shorter rest. Throw another starter, see if he can eat up the bulk of these innings, keep us close. The 7-3 ball game's still close. We got a lot of game left, so you don't want to just empty your bullpen. You want to go to a guy you trust, and clearly Hurtado is one that they've leaned on throughout the entire year.
So Georgia Gwinnett, after putting up 6 last inning, will go back to work here in the bottom of the third. And it'll be the 7, 8, and 9 hitters, Miles Mckissick, Joshua Holt, and Blaze O'Sabin for the defending champs. As you look at the brain trust there for Mid-American Nazarene, as we mentioned, coached by Ryan Thompson in his 16th season at the helm of the Pioneers, previously coached at Air Force Academy as the pitching coach. And the first pitch by Hurtado, off speed, fouled. Hurtado came on in relief against Oklahoma City in the Pioneers' second opening round game. He actually got the victory, going 3 1/3, gave up just 1 earned run. Mckissick, meanwhile, was hit by a pitch and scored his previous time at the plate. Squares the bunt, pulls it back, and it is in there for strike 2.
That's got to be the 4th or 5th batter we've seen try to square, whether it be for a sack or a hit, and we're just in the 3rd inning.
Well, and you talked about the activity on the base paths and how they're a distraction there, and even maybe that coming into play in the batter's box.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you do, I mean, even if you just show bunt, third baseman has to come in and respect that, especially with the team speed Georgia Gwinnett has. Well, what happens when you bring a third baseman in? It reduces his range. So if you get a hot shot over there, there's a better probability that ball gets through the infield. So just showing bunt, having the threat of bunt, shifts where defenders can play and therefore can open up bigger holes. Now with 2 strikes, third baseman has an opportunity to go back because, as many of our viewers know, if you bunt on 2 strikes and it's foul, it's an automatic strikeout.
Hurtado, as we mentioned, better than a strikeout per inning. Does he get one here? No, not yet at least.
Nice little backdoor breaking ball there that kind of caught Mckissick off guard. And looks like, yeah, first base umpire made the right call there. So, in my opinion, first base umpire's having a heck of a game so far.
Yeah, at least he's been tested.
Absolutely.
Fair foul call on Stubbs. And here, his previous ruling ruled kind of inconsequential as Mckissick strikes out anyway, swinging, 1 down here in the 3rd. Good start for Hurtado.
Yeah, same spot, different pitch, so was able to throw a fastball right where he left that slider, and he just laid on it.
Hurtado now facing Joshua Holt, one of many Grizzlies who singled and scored or reached and scored last inning, putting up the 6th spot in the 2nd. Squares the bunt, pulls it back, low and away. Holt, a first-team All-Continental Athletic Conference outfielder. You saw him in the previous half inning, perhaps out and left, sporting the shades. And we're seeing the sun break through a little bit today, but the clouds are actually increasing, and there is, like we said earlier, a concern of rain here this afternoon, at least later, as he lifts a lazy fly ball, and Ryan Leo hauls it in. A good start for Hurtado here in the bottom of the 3rd, 2 up, 2 down.
Yeah, exactly what Mid-America needs. Not only do they need zeros, but they need length and the ability to get 2 efficient outs to start your outing. That it plays well as long as he can keep this momentum going.
And now the number 9 hitter, Blaze O'Sabin for Ryan Thompson's Pioneers. O'Sabin with that big 2-run double last inning. Now aboard with the bases empty. Sabin, 8 of 12 in the opening round. Pair of doubles, drove in 7 and scored 7 runs. You can see how these Grizzlies were able to roll through that Lawrenceville opening round bracket, even though they weren't the 1 seed. Hope International was.
Yeah, well, when you look at it, I mean, 9-hole, Blaze O'Sabin, 370 on the year. That's the 3rd best average on the team. 21 stolen bases. What a luxury to have a lineup that you can construct where your 9 holes hitting 370 with 3rd best average on the team.
Averaging 8.4 runs a game. 330 as a team. Came in leading the nation in stolen bases. Chopped back up the middle. Will it be a seeing eye hit? Yes, it is. So Sabin, good start to his Avista NAIA World Series, 2 for 2.
This is exactly what Georgia Gwinnett does. They're going to try to manufacture a rally here with 2 outs. I would be shocked if they didn't run here, especially with the top of the order. Worst case scenario, he gets thrown out, and you have the top of the order leading off here for the 4th inning. But if he's there safely with a stolen base, all of a sudden you got a runner in scoring position, and then just a base hit scores him, especially with the speed of Blaze and McGuire, who's at the dish right now.
O'Sabin, 21 of 24 on stolen base attempts. Nice stop there by Vogel, and that will retire McGuire and the side. So the 1st inning, the Grizzlies don't play to run. We head to the top of the 4th. It's 7-3, Georgia Gwinnett, the national champs. Welcome back to Harris Field at Ed Sheff Stadium. Built in 1950, the capacity right at 5,000. And as we mentioned earlier, this is the 30th time that Lewiston has hosted the Avista NAIA World Series. There are the dimensions. 315 to left, 335 down the right field line. Power rallies, 360 and change, and straightaway center field, 385. And somebody who could challenge those dimensions here during the Avista NAIA World Series is Joshua Sandoval, senior from Manatee, Puerto Rico. Leads the team with 15 homers. He leads things off here for the Pioneers. First pitch swinging, though, gets under it. Shallow left field, and it's Holt. Now coming on is O'Sabin. And 1 up, 1 down.
That was a towering foul ball, or fly ball. He was able to get the barrel to it. It sounded clean off the bat, but just went straight up.
So here's Dion Cornette, the 3rd baseman. Popped up to shortstop, his first time up. Some beefy players here in the middle of this Mid-American Nazarene lineup. Noah Castillo with a 2-run jack, a big boy, as the DH. Sandoval, the catcher, just got under that one, and Cornette, he's driven in a team-high 52. Fastball, good pitch, just catches the lower outside corner. Heltemus, 84 strikeouts coming in. He struck out the first batter this morning, and that has been it in terms of strikeouts. A big swing there by Cornette. Doesn't get it.
Yeah, he's really challenging these hitters, though. I mean, Mid-America has a great lineup, as you mentioned. Able to get the bat on the ball for the most part, but 4 pop flies in a row. You go first, left, short, now center. So they're seeing them. It's just they're just getting slightly under it right now. I don't know if that's maybe to the early start time of the game or what. Your hands need to start to wake up a little bit. But either way, I mean, for Heltzmuth, they're outs. He doesn't care how. They're outs.
Absolutely. If it's out in the scorebook, he'll take it. The 1-2 swung and missed. So a good start here. The fourth inning as well. Fifth straight batter retired by Heltzmuth.
Yeah, he was able to elevate that fastball. We were talking earlier in the first couple frames. He was able to hit that lower part of the zone, and then he snuck that just above the belt, up and in, and got above the barrel there. So a great pitch up in the count. Like I said, I feel like I've said this 3 or 4 times now. Really been able to command the fastball to both sides of the plate so far in this game.
Second strikeout of the game. That'll bring up Randy Fernandez, the second baseman. He grounded out to short in his first at bat. Fernandez, when Sandoval was out hurt, and that one is lined to left field in for a base hit. And Fernandez is aboard with the 4th hit of the ball game for Mid-America Nazarene.
Yeah, it's a good job hunting that fastball. I mean, we've seen it up here. Heltzmuth has thrown that a lot, has been able to command it. So if you're Mid-America, well, let's try to attack that pitch. You can't sit too early in counts. Let Heltzmuth get ahead of you, because then he can drop that breaking ball in. So hunt the fastball. He's going to locate it most of the time, but when he does it, you better take advantage of that, and that's how you're hit your way back into this game.
And a good guy to keep this going, to hit your way back into the game. Josh Torrance came in with a .379, a team-leading batting average. Rounder popped out, we should say, to second base in the second inning.
Yeah, we spoke to the length of Georgia Gwinnett's offense in the bottom half of the third. Well, here in the top half of the fourth, we haven't yet mentioned that Josh Torrance is leading the team in average, and he's hit 7 for Mid-America. So a lot of length. There's not a lot of easy outs. I mean, between these two teams and the 10 that are here, there's a reason these 10 teams are here at the Avista NAIA World Series. It's just more examples of that.
Quick throw down to first. Fernandez is back. Torrance, as you might imagine, is the team leader in hits. He's also the team leader in triples. They could use one of those right about now. The All Heart of America Conference outfielder, one of 5 players who have started all 55 games, and that one is pulled way foul.
Well, that's really all you can do with that pitch. Another fastball well located on the inner half. Great job by Torrance spoiling that pitch and living to fight for maybe another pitch, but maybe there's one that there's a missed location that he can take advantage of.
Trying to stay alive here. 1-2, and waved at it feebly, and that is the second strikeout of the inning. Headed to the bottom of the fourth here in Lewiston. Opening day of the Avista NAIA World Series. You see the state flags of each of the teams represented here, the 10 teams, 9 flags. There is one state, Florida, with 2 teams. And as these teams are eliminated, so are the flags. So in the championship game, we'll be down to 2 flags. And we mentioned 6 teams this year have won national championships. 5 of the 10 teams here this year were here last year. Southeastern, which is the number 1 seed, along with Faulkner, these Georgia Gwinnett Grizzlies, LSU Shreveport, and Lewis Clark State. And Georgia Gwinnett going back to work here in the bottom of the fourth. It'll be the 2, 3, and 4 hitters. Jake DeFries leading things off. He's 1 for 1 with a single and 2 stolen bases, so he has been as advertised. School record 58 stolen bases and has 2 in each of the first 2 plate appearances.
It's a good job getting ahead 0-2 with 2 breaking balls for Hurtado there. Obviously, you want to keep DeFries off the bases, but you also want to keep the bases clear for Livingston Morris and the rest of this middle of the order for Georgia Cornette.
Hurtado, a 4.61 ERA. Now the 0-2. Got him looking. A good pitch. Just catches that lower edge of the strike zone. And DeFries, that's one way to keep him off the base paths.
Yeah, that's an excellent pitch. You go breaking ball, get ahead 0-2. You pitch a little backwards with a fastball well located on the outer half. This is a team that does not strike out a bunch. Trevino didn't have one strikeout through the first 2 innings, but Hurtado's been able to get, that's his second one here in just his one in the third innings of work.
It's really been what the doctor ordered for Mid-American Nazarene as Livingston Morris, who had a sac fly RBI last time up. He waves a big bat, as we showed you, one of his home runs last year. When he gets a hold of one, it can go a long, long way.
Yeah, he's one of those guys where the bat doesn't look nearly as big as it should in his hands. He's a big human that can get a lot of strength behind those pitches.
Yeah, his 18 homers, tied with Griffin Keller, All-American, actually the player of the year last year in NAIA. That tied the season record, and he accounted for nearly 38% of the team's home runs, 48 total this year. Got a good hitter's pitch here, a 2-1, off speed, backdoor, just outside.
It speaks to the hitter that Livingston Morrison is. You don't want to walk anybody, and especially down in the count, you want to get that strike. But Hurtado, feeling the slider, been able to locate it through that, just left a little bit outside.
3-1, hammered right center field for a base hit.
Yeah, there's a slider again, and Livingston did a good job not trying to do too much with it and taking that slider the other way for a nice hard hit single.
Second hit surrendered by Hurtado. I'll bring up the DH, Chase Evans. Pretty good start to his Avista NAIA World Series. RBI in the first inning on a 4-3 put out, and then walked and scored in the second, as we see Morris at first base. Not a huge threat to steal. Has 5 on the season in 8 attempts. Evans is second on the team in homers. And one of them coming in the win over Hope International in the opening round. They clinched the Grizzlies' trip to Lewiston. Way out in front of that off-speed pitch, and he's in an 0-2 hole.
Yeah, Hurtado's been able to play that fastball-slider combination, pitching backwards, pitching normally, really keeping these Georgia Gwinnett hitters off balance.
Oh-2, golfed into right field. Now the center fielder comes over, but it'll be the right fielder, Torrance. He hauls it in. There are 2 away here in the Georgia Gwinnett fourth. So that'll bring up Austin Bates. By the way, the next game coming up is the LSU Shreveport that were here last year against Bellevue of Nebraska. It'll be Dennis Patchen along the way with Billy Moon, our compadre for this one. And here we go with Austin Bates, the catcher. Georgia Gwinnett, again coached by Jeremy Schiedinger. Yeah, it's funny, we talked to Coach Schiedinger earlier this week, and he said he'd like to think that he's the one that got the championship role started in the state of Georgia. They win it, and the Braves win the World Series, and then the University of Georgia won the national championship in football.
I'd claim that too if I were him.
As the curveball falls in for a strike. I only think he was half joking. It's been a great run for teams in Georgia across the board. Bates in a 1-2 hole, driven right side and through for a base hit.
He's going to test the arm again. Morris, that's a great throw.
Third,
got him.
Nailed him, and looks like the third baseman, Garnett, is a bit shaken up. Kind of an awkward tag there. But a great throw, kind of lost in the shuffle from the outfield.
Yeah, that is a fantastic throw to cut down Morris at third, trying to get that extra 90 feet we've been talking about so much.
Nice throw there by Torrance in right field all the way through, and see the replay here. Torrance, no need for a cutoff, just drilling him. And it's Cornette applying the tag. Georgia Gwinnett still up top by 4, though. And we're back at the Avista NAIA World Series. Checking out some of the baseballs from over the years. And pretty good crowd here for game 1 of this World Series as we head to the top of the 5th. Folks are filing in. Of course, the Lewis Clark State Warriors will play in that featured game at 7 o'clock, at least scheduled for 7 o'clock after opening ceremony. They'll take on Westmont of California. Meantime, Georgia Gwinnett and Galvin Heltemus, starting pitcher for the Grizzlies, going back to work against the 8, 9, and 1 hitters for Mid-American Nazarene, starting with Ryan Leo, the left fielder, or rather the center fielder. Takes the first pitch for a ball. Leo had that shot to right field that got past Livingston Morris and went as a triple in the second inning in his only previous at bat. He scored on that passed ball. And that's a good example there, Billy. That pitch looked very close, ruled a strike, but that, the catcher's out there, the catcher's in position, he gets the call.
Yeah, it's the glove movement. When you set up, maybe set off a little bit off the plate, but when there's not a lot of glove movement and Gavin hits his spot, that's a great sign to the umpire saying, hey, no, that's on the plate. And then also credit to Heltemus for being around the zone this whole game. When you're around the zone, more often than not, you're going to get those calls, those fringe calls, rather than if you're all over the place walking guys. Umpires aren't expecting you to throw a strike. Where on the flip side of that, what Heltemus has proved is that umpires are used to calling strikes when you're in a groove like this.
Here's Frank Vogel, the first baseman. Yeah, the other thing it does is it really puts the batter, on their heels where, he's giving a little bit of generosity here, perhaps slightly outside the zone. Do I need to wave with this 2-strike pitch?
Yeah, it forces hitters to expand the zone, and that's well struck. Let's see if we can track it down here.
Might be out of here. Nope. Base of the wall. Into second base with a stand-up double is Frank Vogel. A 1-out stand-up double for Mid-American Nazarene.
Yeah, looked like a fastball in the outer half and was able to just really stay on it and drive that ball into the gap. I thought it might have had a chance. He hit it too well. Launch angle wasn't there to get it out of the yard. Short hop the fence, but you see the length of the lineup coming in. To be able to turn the lineup over to Woodley and to the middle of your order with a guy on second base, that's a recipe to get back into this game.
5th hit of the ball game for the Pioneers, and here is Drew Woodley. looking for his first hit of the game. He's 0 for 2. First pitch swinging, right field, and it's right at Livingston Morris. And he hauls it in. The big throw to third. Might have a shot at him. Great throw there by Morris. Not in time to get Frank Vogel, but nice effort there from right field by Livingston Morris.
Yeah, he wanted a little revenge after the bottom half of the fourth there, getting tagged out at third on a great throw by his counterpart Torrance out there in right. Just a little high. I mean, gosh, it was on line and on time, just a little bit high to where we could third baseman couldn't apply the tag.
Yeah, and Mckissick, the third baseman, kind of went with the decoy there, acting like the throw was not coming to third, and perhaps the runner Vogel was looking at that. Closer play than many would have thought. Either way, it's Vogel at third now with 2 outs. Center field, routine fly ball for O'Sabin, and that will do it. No runs, 1 hit. We head to the bottom of the fifth. It's still Georgia Gwinnett on top 7-3 here at the Avista NAIA World Series. Oh, yes, school kids are here. You got to love it. Starting their Memorial Day weekend off right. And the fans here, a lot of them traveling from the schools that are playing in this Avista NAIA World Series.
I don't remember my elementary school getting out at 10 a.m. I kind of want that schedule.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. You got to love a field trip here in Lewiston. But, you know, that's a good example of how this community gets behind this event. It really is. When I try to describe it to people who have never been here, I say it's really the Omaha of NAIA, where Omaha really embraces what goes on at the D1 level, embrace all the teams, and the same exact thing happens here in Lewiston.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got the Clarkson as well, who does a great job of hosting as well, just across the river.
Actually staying in Clarkston this time.
Oh.
Getting across the river and seeing how the other half lives. First pitch swinging, J.D. Stubbs, who nearly left the park in his previous at-bat, lines out to center field, 1 up, 1 down.
Yeah, Stubbs has got to be very frustrated, missing a home run by inches, and then he probably hit that ball harder than the potential home run in his last at-bat. It was just right at the center fielder, Leo.
If you're just joining us in the third, Stubbs ripped one down the right field line, and we do mean on the line. First base umpire ruled it just foul. There was a discussion afterwards. Either way, Georgia Gwinnett had a big inning, a 6-run second inning. And here's Miles Mckissick. Still looking for his first hit of the game. He was hit by a pitch in the second and struck out in the third. Off-speed pitch, beautiful, in there for a strike. Hurtado coming on in relief of starter Zach Trevino, giving up 3 hits thus far. Here's the 0-2, tried to go backdoor, no.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. One thing I have noticed with both Trevino and Hurtado, both, as we mentioned, starters throughout the year, both are exclusively out of the stretch. So I wonder if that's just a small sample size or if that's something that Mid-American Nazarene tries to simplify with their entire staff. And you're seeing that a lot at the big league level now, way more than you were 10 years ago, to where, 10 years ago there was relievers out there that started in the windup. But you're seeing, a friend of mine that I played with, Marco Gonzalez, is exclusively out of the stretch for the Mariners. You got other guys out there. I believe Jordan Hicks with the Cardinals, he's a 100-mile-an-hour thrower that they move into the starting rotation. You get a lot more guys, especially starters, that are just exclusively going out of the stretch to simplify their mechanics, easier to repeat, and therefore, over a course of a game, a higher percentage of hitting your spots.
Here's the 1-2 to McKissick, grounded through the 5-hole for a base hit. 6th hit of the ball game, the 9th hit of the ball game for Georgia Gwinnett, and a 1-out runner aboard here for the Grizzlies. So that'll bring up Joshua Holt. He's got a single and a run scored in this ball game. And going back to Hurtado, you feel like this is exactly what you're talking about, Billy. He's not having to change anything now with a runner aboard in terms of his delivery.
Exactly. The only difference is now he's got that's well struck in the center. See if Leo can track it down. Now off the top of the wall.
McKissick coming around and coming to third, and into second base is Joshua Holt with a double. That one just kept carrying and carrying.
It did. It was, obviously well struck and got barrel there. And Josh Holt has had really good at-bats. Had a single in the first to keep that rally going. Had a great at-bat there in the third and just flew out to center. And this one got a little bit more of it and put it off the top of the wall. This is impressive with Georgia Gwinnett. The big second inning started with 4 consecutive hitters getting on base. That's 6 through 9. And now here you're threatening again with your 7-8 getting on base, and 9-hole has an opportunity to drive in a couple more runs, as he did in the second inning, and turn your lineup over to the top half of the lineup here with Mcguire and DeFries before Morris comes up.
And a very slow walk out to the mound by Ryan Thompson in his 16th season at the helm of the Pioneers.
A little bit of stirring in the Mid-America pen there. Nothing. So the catcher's not down, not off the mound yet, just starting to get loose. So that could explain the extremely slow walk, as you mentioned, to the mound.
You take a look there at catcher Joshua Sandoval. He's actually took a pitch to the face earlier this season and fractured his cheekbone, as we see Hurtado coming off. We'll finish that story and also introduce you to the new Mid-American Nazarene pitcher when we come back at the Avista NAIA World Series. In the 5th inning, and already the third pitcher for Mid-American Nazarene, as Christian Hurtado is done, and he gives way to Reese Elland, the junior out of Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. In his 20 appearances, all in relief, he's got a .462 ERA, has a save, and a better than 3-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, Billy.
Yeah, as you mentioned, this is your more traditional reliever, so I don't think they're looking for really any length out of Reese here. They're trying to get him out of this jam. And then it'll be interesting to see, as we mentioned, not a very deep pitching staff. Wonder if they start to piece this maybe one inning at a time, get through this game, keep it close, and really have the bulk of your staff available for a game whether it be tomorrow or, well, either way they're going to play tomorrow. So you want to keep as many arms fresh for that game as you can.
And he'll be pitching to Blaze O'Sabin, the center fielder, who is 2 for 2 in this ball game. Helen, meantime, he's a good guy to bring in here. He might have been the best reliever for the Pioneers in the opening round Oklahoma City bracket. In his 2 appearances, he did not give up an earned run. Over 3 2/3. Struck out 6. Really needs to keep this lead at 4 right here. Sabin.
Yeah, and Mid-America's bringing the infield in, trying to cut a runner here. It reduces range, so expected batting average of a hitter goes up, but it's something down 4. Ones are huge for Georgia Gwinnett, and you need to do everything you can. And there you go, great stop.
Right at Fernandez, and there are 2 away. So often you see a line drive, and because the infield is in, it costs the team on defense. In this case, it's right at the second baseman Fernandez, just what the doctor ordered for the Pioneers.
Yeah, you really couldn't ask for a better outcome. I mean, the inning's not over. You flip it over the top of the lineup here. But, I mean, getting that second out is huge with a runner on third base.
Allen with a hard cutter, and he follows it with a curve. And that's a good look at his curve right there. In there for a strike to Braxton Mcguire.
This is one of those at-bats that can really turn the tables. We've talked about the momentum really being in Georgia Gwinnett's dugout ever since the second inning. If Helen can get out of this inning unscathed, we might be able to look back at this point in the game and say, hey, this is where the game turned and Mid-America found themselves back into it and maybe pulling off the upset, or not the upset, but the comeback here.
Agreed. He's got McGuire in an 0-2 hole. What's coming next? Looks like a change or a high fastball taken for a ball, 1-2.
Yeah, it looked a little bit up, so I think that was a fastball. Change the eye level, change the velocity. Wouldn't be surprised if he goes soft away here to follow up that pitch.
All right, Tony Romo, let's see what happens. The 1-2, yes. Well, at least the curveball part.
Yeah.
That's not your fault that it was. Yeah. He grooved a curveball.
Yeah. No, I think he was trying to go outside, just got a little more of the plate than he wanted being up 0-2. But, I mean, that's a great pitch sequence, especially with a curveball. You basically start that on the same plane as that fastball in, and you have it drop into the zone.
Not a lot of wind to speak of, just a light breeze here in the LC Valley. Temps in the high 60s, and Georgia Gwinnett looking to add to a 7-3 lead, and it looked like that got him, and it did. First base was open, but now the bases are loaded.
Yeah, I mean, first base was open, as you mentioned, but that's just really not what you want to do up in the count 1-2, and then obviously facing a guy, one of their best hitters in Jake DeFries. We've talked about his speed, but we can't discount the bat that he has and the ability to blow this game wide open should he get a hold of one here.
So here's Jake DeFries, shortstop. 1 for 2 in the game. He's already swiped a couple bases. You can tell by the jersey he has been active. Waves through that first pitch.
Can't imagine too many of the games ended with a clean jersey from Jake DeFries. He's one of those guys that just loves to be. I mean, even being he's starting shortstop, so
there's that.
Even
too.
If he doesn't get on base, he's probably getting dirty.
Yep. Big moment here for Nazarene. Off-speed pitch is inside. Bases are loaded. Georgia Gwinnett looking to add to its 7-3 lead here in the 5th of Game 1 of the Avista NAIA World Series. High leverage situation here for Helen. The 1-1. Looked like it could have gotten by Sandoval. Good stop there.
He's really been living down and in to DeFries here. Curious if that's part of the scouting report or just starting to pull a little bit, trying to do too much with all of his pitches. That's typically a spot you want to stay away from with a left-hander with the quote-unquote loop zone that a lot of them have.
Left side, is it going to stay in play or will there be a play It drops in foul ground, but nobody can get there. Kind of fell in that no man's land out there in foul ground beyond third.
Yeah, they call that the Bermuda Triangle of the foul area. There's quite a bit of room on each of the lines here at Harris Field, so an opportunity for Cornette or Woodley to grab that, but just the way the defense was positioned, and that was a tough play. I mean, that would have been a heck of a play by anybody to get to that.
So we'll do it again here. Base is loaded. The deuces are wild. 2 out. The 2-2 pitch to Jake DeFries. Fought off foul. Good job staying alive. Probably was going to be ball 3, but.
Yeah, but one of those pitches is too close to take, right? It's a great spot by Helen. Great reaction by DeFries, and again, live to fight another day. All around, just great effort, great approach there, and we'll see what happens here. We'll play 2-2 all over again.
Mckissick at third, Holt at second, and Helen does his job. A huge strikeout. As he ends the inning with the bases loaded, Helen comes in and gets DeFries to strike out. So, Georgia Gwinnett jams the sacks, but can't get anybody home. It stays 7-3 here at Harris Field. Welcome back to the Avista NAIA World Series. Here's how the Mid-American Nazarene Pioneers got here. They're 39-16 overall in the regular season. First place in the Heart of America regular season, but they lost to last year's NAIA World Series runner-up Central Methodist in that championship game. But then they had those big wins over third-ranked and top-seeded Oklahoma City in the OKC opening round bracket. And they were one game away from making it here last year, so this isn't exactly a Cinderella team, but they're on the ropes here, down 7-3 as we start the 6th inning. And a good guy to lead things off. Although it's too bad there aren't a couple runners aboard. Noah Castillo with a 2-run homer in the first.
Yeah, Mid-America coming off. You saw on the graphic there, won 16 of the last 18 games, and that's really going through all of tournament play. So that's impressive to face that level of competition. Go 16-2. You can see how they made it here and why their confidence level is so high, even being the 9th seed.
And they really thought they had the stuff to make it here last year. It just didn't happen. Concordia came out of that opening round bracket, but it really, the core of their team returned and really had them relaxed and confident. 1-2 fastball low and away. And even though they played Oklahoma City in that Oklahoma City bracket, they had played them 25 times over the past 10 years, quite a few of them in Oklahoma City. So there was a comfort factor, they said, in that.
There wasn't a jersey shock of, hey, this is the 3rd team in the country, and all of a sudden you kind of sit back in your hole and are a little bit, the confidence level isn't there. They're familiar, and that had to play a huge role in them sweeping that regional.
That's a good way of putting it, jersey shock. I like it. Now here's the 2-2. Very close. Let's rule the ball. Count goes full.
Yeah, it's a spot that Heltmas has really painted nicely and just missed a little bit. I can't imagine that was one that I think Noah got frozen there. I don't think that was one he would want to leave in the umpire's hands.
Hot smash. Hope everybody's all right down the left field line. That thing was eye high the whole way. Man, Noah Castillo can swing a big bat. That's why you see Heldemus careful with him, nibbling around the edges. Here's the 3-2. And not a bad idea. You know, obviously nobody on, but walking him isn't the worst thing in the world.
With the talent level of Castillo, absolutely. But given the situation in the game, you're up 4. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is he puts it over the fence again, and it's 7-4, right? So you want to make Mid-America from here on out really earn base runners to try to get back into this game. And this is one Heltemus, I mean, I believe that's his first walk of today. And over the course of the season, he's proven he doesn't walk a ton of guys. So I don't think that'll be an issue going forward. But anytime you give free bases, you lend the opportunity for big innings to happen.
Sandoval, meantime, flies out to deep right field on his first pitch. And one out here in the 6th. Let's just keep the camera on Sandoval for a second. I was going to finish that story. You know, he took a pitch to his face earlier this season and fractured his cheekbone in 3 places, missed 5 games. But Mid-American Nazarene kept playing well without him, and it was a huge confidence boost for the team. Then they get him back, and they have been on a roll ever since.
Well, you have cheek fractures, you only miss 5 games. Yeah. You typically play 4 in a weekend, so he was out less than 2 weeks there with that injury. So I mean, that's a testament to the toughness. And I mean, gosh, I mean, breaking your cheek with any position is not good, but with a catcher and having to put a catcher's mask on every game and a potential foul tip, a little shock to the cheeks, I mean, that is the definition of toughness right there.
As Dion Cornette comes up with a runner aboard, 1 out. Yeah. Foul tips off the cage there certainly was a concern. In fact, he took a foul tip off the mask early on after returning from the broken bone in his face. Didn't faze him. He gave the coach a look like, hey, we're good.
I got it. I'm good.
That had to be the best thing that Coach Thompson saw all season.
Yeah. And there were a lot of good things he saw this season.
Yeah. Yeah, the doctors advised that he ease back into it, but that quickly turned into catching every game, as you might imagine.
Well, I mean, easing is a relative term, right? I mean, it could very well mean just 9 innings. So if it goes in the extras, pull me out. But I got 9.
Cornette, meantime, 0 for 2 in this game. Struck out his last time up. And he struck out here. There are 2 away here. Mid-American Nazarene in the 6th, though. Heltemus cruising along here.
Yeah, he's found a hole in Cornette's swing. That's the exact same pitch, fastball down and away, that he got him last at bat. So that's one that Cornette's having trouble getting to, and Heltemus has proven that he can hit that spot over and over again.
55 of his 82 pitches thus far have been strikes, as Randy Fernandez, the second baseman. First pitch swinging. Ball out to right field, and it'll be Livingston Morris hauling it in. Another good inning for Heltemus. It's Georgia Gwinnett cruising at the Avista NAIA World Series. Still up by a 7-3 tally. Welcome back to the Avista NAIA World Series, and here's a look at how the defending champs got back to the series. 45-14 overall this year, 11-1 in the newly formed Continental Athletic Conference, which comprises teams that were previously independent. They won the conference tournament and then went 3-0 in their opening round bracket that they hosted, including knocking off Hope International, the number 1 seed, 13-1. But they are 1-5 against teams here in Lewiston, which might explain their 8th seeding versus a higher seed. Although the number 1 seed, as you see Livingston Morris lead things off here in the bottom of the 6th, the number 1 seed has only won 3 times, the title 3 times since seeding began in 2003. The last to do it was Tennessee Wesleyan. They did it in 2019. And they are here again this year. They will play tomorrow. They got a bye. They'll take on the winner of a game later today between Faulkner of Alabama and Weber International of Florida.
And forgive me, I'm going off straight memory here, but didn't the number 1 seed last year go 0-2?
You are putting me on the spot. Let's see. Southeastern? Yeah, maybe went 1-2.
Okay. Yeah, either way, it was a quick exit for a 1 seed.
And they're the 1 seed again this year, so obviously hoping for a much different result. They will take on the winner of this game tomorrow afternoon, scheduled for a 3 o'clock start. And that could be a heck of a matchup if you get the defending champions, if this score holds as is, or Georgia Gwinnett goes on to win. Defending champions against the number 1 seed. Again, that's tomorrow afternoon.
Southeastern and their players are in attendance here, so obviously doing a little scouting, especially early in the morning here. So good on them for getting out here, and it's much more of a business trip than trying to sleep in.
7 of the 10 teams here have been here before. Mid-American Nazarene, one of the 3 newcomers, along with Weber International and Westmont. In this 10-team double elimination tournament, the 2-2 hammered foul, just fouled on the left field line.
Livingston doesn't shorten his swing at all with 2 strikes. I think he's up there to go for his 19th home run of the year, regardless of count and situation.
Livingston, the 6'4" senior out of Woodstock, Georgia. The 2-2 swings and misses. Good start to the inning for Helen. Second straight strikeout since coming on in the 6th. Or excuse me, in the 5th.
Yeah, it's well located. He got maybe a little bit too much of the plate than he would wanted to, but the location, the biggest thing was it was down, and it was able to escape the barrel and slide under the barrel of Livingston Morris there. So, it's, like you said, great start to the inning, and exactly what Mid-America needed.
Here's DH Chase Evans, first pitch swinging, fouls it away. First team All-Continental Athletic Conference first baseman. An RBI ground out in the first, Singleton scored in the second. This is a well-coached team. Head coach Jeremy Schiedinger in his 3rd season. And he was the 2021 Skip Bertman National Coach of the Year, voted by Collegiate Baseball Foundation. That's the first NAIA coach to win that award since its inception in 2013. There's the 1-1, and it hit him. So it's been a good start to Helen's mound appearance here, but he has hit 2 batters thus far.
Yeah, and I believe that's the 3rd or 4th so far this game. And you see, this is part of the mentality of Georgia Gwinnett. All 3 or 4 of those, there was not a lot of movement to get out of the way. I mean, technically and legally you have to make an effort to get out of the way, but that could be as simple as just turning in to protect yourself. They're going to take that base 100 out of 100 no matter who's up. That is part of their, barrels, bases, and bunts. I mean, that's part of the way they attack this game.
Could be 2. Nice looking turn by Sherwood, and that'll end the inning. So a nifty 4-6-3 double play turned by Mid-American Nazarene. Reese Helen continuing to do good work on the mound despite hitting a couple batters. Heading to the top of the 7th. It's 7-3, Georgia Gwinnett. Top of the 7th here at Harris Field at Ed Sheff Stadium. And it's Georgia Gwinnett on top 7-3 in this opening game of the Avista NAIA World Series. Pretty decent crowd on hand, and so far no trouble with any weather. Temperatures in the high 60s. Got up into the mid-80s yesterday here in the LC Valley, and even that had to feel pretty comfortable to your Georgia Gwinnett's and your southeastern of Florida.
Yeah, we got a couple, not too many people with sleeves or players with sleeves out there, but I'm sure they're very comfortable.
Been a good performance thus far. Just one tough first inning for Galvin Heltemus, the starter for Georgia Gwinnett, giving up 5 hits over these 6 innings. And it looks like, and you really could have started, any one of 2 or 3 pitchers for Georgia Gwinnett, but as you see, pitcher warming in the pen, but could pay off if you didn't start your ace and you get the win here. Boy, that really sets up your pitching.
Yeah. Well, they have the Conference Player of the Year, and in there they just elected not to go with him. But hey, it's working out so far, and if you can do that, there's a huge advantage. It's a huge risk because you want to get off on your right foot and go 1-0 in this tournament. That there's lesser games that you need to play to get to the championship game. But as Torrance, their best hitter, drives one down the line, it looks like they're going to get a double out of that.
Yeah, Josh Torrance gets into that first pitch for a ringing double. Leadoff batter aboard, just what Mid-American Nazarene needs.
But if you can hold on, win a game, go 1-0, and all of a sudden you've got your ace ready for the way the bracket's playing out with these two teams. You play the number 1 seed Southeast. You got to feel pretty good going into that second game. First things first, you got to take care of business here though.
So here's Ryan Leo, another good batter to have up for Mid-American Nazarene. He tripled and scored in the second inning. 6th hit of the ball game for Mid-American Nazarene versus 10 for Georgia Gwinnett. Feigned to call timeout, then he calls it again and he gets it. Leo struck out in the 5th inning against Heltemus. Good off-speed pitch, but ruled a ball.
Got a little stirring in the Georgia Gwinnett bullpen here. So, as much as Heltemus has done very well so far this game, he is approaching that kind of that 85 pitch mark, which at that point, anywhere between 85 and 105, that's when you start to really pay attention to location and how he's doing.
Driven off the wall in right center field. Here comes Torrance with the 4th one of the ball game. An RBI double by Leo, exactly what Mid-American Nazarene needed here in the 7th.
Yeah, back-to-back doubles, and you're going to see that bullpen get a little bit more hot now that this turns into a 3-run game. But bottom of the lineup, that's the 4th extra base hit from the 7, 8, and 9 hole hitters for Mid-American Nazarene. So that's exactly what you need. Turn that ball over, or turn the lineup over to the top of the rotation here.
And here comes Jeremy Schiedinger as we see activity in the Georgia Gwinnett bullpen. And Coach Schiedinger is going to talk it over, and the pace of his walk would indicate that he may be making the move. But he's an interesting story. He's multimedia. He actually served as an executive producer. We'll see if he makes the call. Yep, going to the righty. So we will take a quick break. We'll tell you about that story when we come back. But Heltemus does a great job over his 6 innings pitched. But 2 back-to-back doubles as they move to the bullpen. We'll tell you about the new pitcher for Georgia Gwinnett when we come back. So consecutive doubles by Mid-American Nazarene. A new pitcher here for Georgia Gwinnett. It's 6'4" senior Ryan Mann out of Lawrenceville, where Georgia Gwinnett is located. 16th appearance. All of them in relief except for 4. The good ERA, 3.21 ERA, and a little bit less than a 4-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, Billy.
Yeah, good numbers across the board. This is one of their key guys in that lengthy bullpen. Can provide length. We'll see if that's part of the deal today. If they're going to go to him for more than just the 7th inning here, but a guy that they have a lot of confidence in throwing out there in really any situation. In particular, one here with a runner in scoring position, and you got yourself a 3-run game.
And a guy who actually doubled his last time up, trying to clear the bases here with 2 batters who doubled to lead off this 7th for Mid-American Nazarene. It's Frank Vogel. Pioneers, again, unranked in the final coaches poll. That was prior to the Oklahoma City opening round bracket, which they obviously won, upsetting top-seeded Oklahoma City, ranked 3rd in the country. I really feel like, Billy, this is where the Pioneers have to get some runs.
Yeah, whenever you have opportunities, especially late in the game when you only got 9 more outs to play with, anytime you're threatening, you've got to come through here. And a great stop by Mcguire.
Beautiful play. Nicely done to retire Vogel. So a runner goes to 3rd base. 1 away here in the 7th.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that's a productive out because you get the runner over to 3rd base with less than 2 outs. You keep the sacrifice fly in order. But guarantee you that Mid-America wanted more than that, especially with the placement of that ground ball. Just a great play by Mcguire over there, getting that first out of the inning.
Boy, that's one of those, if it gets by you at 2nd base, all of a sudden, 2 runs home, nobody out.
Yeah, tying run at the plate at that point.
So Drew Woodley back to the top of the order here for the Pioneers, looking for his first hit of this game. Curveball is low. Mann has given up just 1 home run this season. And opponents batting .259 against him. .6'4" senior, the high heat, elevated fastball upstairs. He's got that free and easy motion.
Yeah, and he's got some length to him, right? Yep. I mean, you said 6'4", so a lot of levers. It can be a challenge to pick up from a hitter with those long levers. The frame that you look at as a hitter, that release point, a little bit farther from the body than you anticipate. So got a little extra angle to take into consideration. So there's a lot of things that just purely length can provide that are more intangible in nature that can just set you off by a half inch or so, and that could be the difference between a barrel and a jam shot.
The runner at 3rd fouled away. Mid-American Nazarene hitting an identical .330 to Georgia Gwinnett. They're averaging 7.8 runs a game. And they have 72 homers as a team, now 73 after the 2-run blast by Castillo in the 1st. Average about 1.3 homers a game. They'd like to make it 2 right here. The 2-2. Woodley swings through it, big strikeout.
Yeah, that was a good fastball. Ryan's been able to really dip that slider in or that curveball, and then just comes back with a well-located fastball in the inner. And that's something that Heltonus did too. So not afraid to pitch inside as this Georgia Gwinnett pitching staff, and it's shown through the stats of how reliable it can be. I mean, when you have to worry about the entire 14 inches of home plate as a hitter,
1-0 is upstairs. Sherwood, the junior from Elkhart, Indiana, trying to get another run home here. 1 home already for Mid-American Nazarene. The 2-0. And ruled a strike fastball, a good one.
Yeah, it was a delayed call there, so I think home plate umpire was thinking about it a little bit before giving it to him.
Kind of doing his own little personal replay in his mind. Sherwood has good power numbers. Second on the team in homers. He was 3 for 12 in the opening round, but 2 of those were doubles. Good hitter's pitch here. That one is golfed, but way foul. Gave it a ride, but foul.
Yeah, well out in front of that. There's no argument down the first base line of whether that was fair or foul.
If you're just joining us, we had a little, I wouldn't call it controversy, but a very close call in the earlier innings when J.D. Stubbs looked like he might have left the park, but it was ruled foul for Georgia Gwinnett. And there's Sherwood. 2-2 count with 2 out and runner at third. Fastball fisted, and it's going to bounce just foul. So good hustle there by Mckissick, but he was playing back with 2 outs. So he wasn't able to scamper over and haul in that third out.
Yeah, and it was a full swing, too. So, I mean, the sound of the bat gave it away. But when you ever see those full swings, your first step is typically back. So it sets you at a disadvantage trying to chase after that ball. Ball was only hit probably 80 feet. But playing deep, first step back, that'll set you back.
Mann, the pitcher, previously played at Kennesaw State University, which is also just outside of Atlanta. The defending champs looking to win their opening game here in Game 1 of the Avista NAIA World Series. Key moment here, the 2-2 to Sherwood. Did he go around? Umpire, they say the third base umpire says no. Not enough rotation. Looked like he moved the shoulders, but the barrel just didn't come through the zone.
Yeah, it's a good job keeping the hands inside and not letting those wrists break. Because typically when those wrists break, the barrel follows. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to get that for a called strike. But it's a good job by Bryson. He recognized it late, but was able to keep the bat back.
So big moment here. The 3-2 pitch. 2 out with a runner at third. Left field, and it'll go foul. Sherwood is actually, his uncle is actually a teammate of Pioneers coach Ryan Thompson at Bethel College in Indiana. It's all about trying to get another run home here and get within striking distance. So get into the latter innings of the Vista NAIA World Series opener. We'll do the 3-2 again. And called a strike. A beautiful hook that nips the lower outside corner. Sherwood is retired, and so are the Mid-American Nazarene Pioneers. Sherwood frozen. Pioneers get one home, but it's 7-4. Georgia Gwinnett and is getting late here at Harris Field. And welcome back to Game 1 of the Vista NAIA World Series. Shot of the Snake River there. Bridge over to Clarkston. Pretty good ball game here. A 7-4 game. And a new pitcher on for Mid-America Nazarene. It's their fourth pitcher, Eric Navarette, 5'10 sophomore righty out of Victorville, California. And there you see his number of games. He's actually been predominantly a starter this year. ERA a bit high at 5.42, but a good strikeout to walk ratio, Billy.
Yeah, one of those guys that they've leaned on all year. As we said, there's probably 4 or 5 guys on this roster that's taken the majority of the innings. He's one of them, and they're going to try to keep this thing close. Keep it at 3 runs. I mean, Max used him for 2 innings, so he should be able to bounce back relatively quickly and get back into his more starting role.
And he'll face the 6, 7, and 8 hitters for Georgia Gwinnett, starting out with first baseman J.D. Stubbs. Stubbs taking the first in there for a strike. 1 for 3 in the game. Singled and scored in the second inning. Part of a 6-run outburst for the Grizzlies. Really has been the difference in this ball game. Lifted on the infield. It looks like it'll be the shortstop, and that's Bryson Sherwood. 1 up, 1 down.
It was a good job taking. There's probably 4 infielders that could have caught that ball, but, I mean, the hierarchy of who gets priority is the shortstop over all infielders, and then outfielders over infielders. So good job from Bryson taking control of that situation and communicating appropriately to get that out.
That'll bring up Miles McKissick, the third baseman. 1 for 2 in the game. Was also hit by a pitch and scored. First pitch swinging, fouls it away. Great performance by Helland. He goes 1 2/3, does not give up a hit. Any of the 6 batters that he faced. And of his 25 pitches, he threw 17 strikes. So Helland continues to be a terrific middle reliever for Georgia Gwinnett. Or excuse me, Mid-American Nazarene. But now it's Eric Navarette trying to keep the Grizzlies stuck on 7 runs. They've been there since the second. Some of the fans warming up the vocal cords there. Thought that was a little outside. Ruled a strike, and then now it's a 1-2 pitch. Swung and missed on the heat.
2 quick outs, and really just a great job from the bullpen from Mid-American Nazarene. I mean, you go down 7-1 after 2. It's an understatement that it's not looking good, but to throw up zeros ever since then and give their offense just the opportunity to chip away rather than having to get big inning after big inning. Who knows if it'll pay off in a win, but either way, the confidence level going into game 2, as long as this holds, has got to be pretty darn good.
Here's Joshua Holt. Good game thus far. 2 for 3 with a double and a run scored. The ERA for Mid-American Nazarene, team ERA of 4.85, but since that 6-run second, they've been largely outstanding. Just 5 hits since that second inning. 2 out swinging.
Great job by Navarette getting ahead quickly on all 3 of the hitters he's faced thus far.
Navarette started the second game of the opening round Oklahoma City bracket. He only went 2 innings. Gave up a couple earned runs, Fanning 5. Probably one of those staff games.
Yeah, just trying to keep everybody. You mentioned Trevino coming back after his start in that to close out the conference tournament. So, a little bit of chameleons out there. I mean, traditional starters throughout the year, but come tournament time and come the playoffs, especially with the World Series, you gotta throw everything out there, and that's exactly what Mid-America's doing.
Yeah, Navarette, a good inning, a 1-2-3 inning, including 2 strikeouts. We head to the bottom of the 7th. It's stretch time at Harris Field. Georgia Gwinnett, the defending champs, on top by 3. Welcome back to Harris Field at Etcheff Stadium. It's the opener of the 65th Avista NAIA World Series. The defending champion Georgia Gwinnett Grizzlies, green and white pinstripe. They're leading 7-4 over Mid-American Nazarene of Olathe, Kansas, just outside of Kansas City. It's time for Mr. Noah Castillo, who had a 2-run homer in the first inning. Been quiet since. Popped out in the third and walked in the sixth. Castillo, a freshman from Whittier, California, now with 8 home runs after that homer in the first. He was also the DH in the opening round Oklahoma City bracket in that first game of that bracket. Went 2 for 5 with a solo homer.
There's a live arm from Ryan Mann here. I mean, he's slow wind up, like we talked about the levers in the last inning. It just comes on you and it really pops the glove. And then you mix in a little slider there, perfectly placed in the outside corner. That's going to be tough to come back against.
And he's got Castillo in an 1-2 hole, rather. A multitude of signs, and now ready. The 1-2 did not go around.
Well placed slider there. It starts in the zone. You don't want to give him you don't want to get too much of the plate. We've talked about it a couple different times throughout this broadcast, but get a ball that starts in the zone, see if Noah Castillo can get himself out, and then worst case scenario, it's 2-2. You still have the advantage.
That ball is smoked, and that one could get out again, and does. What a day
over
for
the bleachers.
Noah Castillo. A 2-run ride in the first, and now a solo blast here in the 8th.
Yeah, fastball that leaked just right to the middle of the plate, belt high, and Castillo did not miss it. That ball landed over the balcony, or the bleachers over there in left field.
Somebody who's enjoying his time thus far, and 7-5 game now. You'll take a run any way you can get it. Would have been nice, obviously, to have a couple runners on base, but now it's a 2-run game.
It almost looked like either a cutter or a slider that didn't slide. It had a little bit of tilt to it to the outer half of the plate and just didn't move as much as Ryan wanted it to.
They'll bring up Joshua Sandoval, the catcher, looking for his first hit. Is the cleanup hitter for the Pioneers.
That's a good job by Bates. He's not going out to see him, but after giving up a well-struck home run, you miss up for the first 2 pitches. Let Ryan Mann get a deep breath in. Take your time getting it back to him. Hey, just reset here. We need you for the rest of this inning.
A little meat ground ball, and it's Mann making the play himself. Good job scampering off the mound for the 1-3 put out, one away here in the 8th.
Yeah, and that's a tougher play than people think. I mean, he went down with the bare hand. It wasn't hit extremely hard. It was off the top of the bat there. But to field that barehanded on all in one smooth motion, throw a strike over to first base. Yeah, get rid of that hat. We don't need the hat. We want to show the flow here a little bit. But a great play to get the first out of the inning.
So Mann now will face with 1 out Dion Cornette, the third baseman. Cornette also looking for his first hit of the series. Good first pitch off speed in there for a strike. And the 4, 5, and 6 hitters for Mid-American Nazarene, just 1 hit among them thus far. Castillo, meantime, the number 3 hitter, doing his job. 2 homers thus far.
We'll see if the scouting report translates over to Mann. Heltmus was able to get Cornette twice on that fastball on the outer half of the plate. Let's see if he sticks to that or if he trusts that slider that he's been proven to throw for strikes here in his 1 1/3.
It was Gavin Heltmus. His final line was 7 hits, 3 earned runs over 6 innings. Now the 1-2. Fastball grounded right to third base, but just foul.
sticking with that slider. The last 2 pitches, trying to bury it on the outer half of the plate. I wouldn't be surprised here if he came back with, really a fastball either located on the outside part, as we mentioned before, or he has been able to elevate that as well, which would be a good pitch to follow those 2 breaking balls.
The 1-2, fastball laced to left field. Clearly Cornette looking fastball there, gets it. And he's aboard with his first hit of the Vista NAIA World Series.
Yeah, that was a great piece of hitting because that was a well-located fastball in the inner half after 2 breaking balls in the outer half. Cornell was able to get enough of the barrel out and get that over the third baseman, Mckissick.
And that'll bring up Randy Fernandez. He's 1 for 3 in this ball game. Tying run at the plate. If you're wondering, Fernandez does have 4 home runs on the season. Big swing at that, doesn't get it. Had just 2 hits in 12 at-bats in the opening round bracket in Oklahoma City. But he really had been on a tear over the past month. On April 15th, he was hitting .271, went on a 17-game hitting streak, 8 of those with multiple hits. He's got a hit in this one, looking for another one. Curveball dismisses. Some guys, Billy, are just pleasurable to watch pitch, and this is one of them, just a beautiful form.
Yeah, very smooth mechanics, always on line. Fastball's gotten a little bit away from him up in the zone, just as it is there, but overall he's been able to locate fairly well, and really just better hitting by Castillo and Cornette there to take advantage of. I wouldn't even consider it a mistake that Mann threw to Cornette. It was just a great piece of hitting.
He'd only given up 1 home run to that point all season. Now has given up 2. And another mound visit here from Jeremy Sheetinger. And this may be more of a basketball timeout, just to kind of have him reset.
Yeah, you could tell Mann got a little bit animated when he saw Sheetinger come out of the dugout there. Maybe he thought his day was over. Yeah, but it's just a time to say, hey, reset, we need you here. Yes, tying runs at the plate, but we're still up 2. So a ground ball gets us out of this inning unscathed. So really got to reset that mindset for Manning. When you're out there in a high-level situation, those things can escape your mind because you're so focused on getting strikes and getting outs.
Drilled left field. That's going to be trouble. And here comes Cornette into third base, into second with a double. Fernandez, and all of a sudden, the Pioneers have the tying run at second base.
Yeah, they're starting to get the barrel out. They're starting to see it a little bit better. Maybe those hands that we talked about with all those flyouts early in the game, they're starting to wake up a little bit. They're getting on top of the ball, and they're starting to hit the ball hard and finding holes.
I mentioned a moment ago, Jeremy Sheetinger coming out to the mound. It was actually Evan Wise, the pitching coach. Want to give him some props here, and there is activity. You see there how hard that ball was hit. Got down in a hurry, and the big man, Randy Fernandez, got down sliding into second with a double. Here's Josh Torrance, the right fielder. He can tie the ball game with a base hit. First pitch swinging, and looks like it'll get out of play.
Really interesting defensive placement here. They're bringing, not necessarily surprised, they'll bring the corners in with a runner on third and less than 2 outs, but they're really playing the middle infield as more of a kind of halfway, which reduces it's not all the way in, so even if it's got to be a really well-struck ground ball for them to have any play at home, and it reduces their ability to go left and right and keep it in the infield, because if the ball gets through the infield, there's a very good chance that this game is tied.
Left center field. And this will get 1 run home. Runner at second holds. It is a 7-6 ball game. And if you're Georgia Gwinnett there, Billy, do you trade an out for a run, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, at this point, given the 8th inning and the trust you've instilled in your entire staff, I mean, you just want to get outs. At this point, you're counting outs. So they got 4 left. 4 left to get. They still have a 1-run lead. I mean, obviously you'd like to get a strikeout or a ground ball right in an infield there, but I mean, worst case scenario is both runners score there. So they still have the lead. They have an opportunity to get out of the inning with the lead and head to the ninth with a 1-run advantage and the ability to tack on an additional insurance run in the bottom half of the inning.
So we'll see a pinch runner for Ryan Leo, or rather Randy Fernandez. And it'll be Will Morris. Batter, meantime, Ryan Leo. Had a good game thus far. A triple in the second inning and an RBI double in the seventh. And we've got, meantime, a pitching change for Georgia Gwinnett. Ryan Mann had a good start to his outing, but faltered late. And we've got a change. We'll tell you about the new hurler for the Grizzlies when we come back. High leverage situation here for Jonathan Habb, the new pitcher on for Georgia Gwinnett here in the eighth. The tying run out at second for Mid-American Nazarene. 6'2" junior out of Norcross, Georgia, making his ninth appearance, all in relief. And he has not surrendered an earned run to this point. A good strikeout to walk ratio, almost 3-1, Billy.
Yeah, not a huge volume of work, but when he's been in, he's been extremely about as effective as you can be, striking out almost 2 per inning. That's impressive, and then the ability to limit only 4 walks and have that 2 saves. So he's their back end of the game guy. They go say, hey, go get us the most high leverage outs of the game, and he's the one they've been calling on.
So with Will Morris, the pinch runner, in at second base. Here's Ryan Leo, the center fielder, with 2 out. First pitch swinging, swings right through it. As I mentioned, a good game thus far. Tripled and scored in the second, so has a double. The 0-1 fastball fouled away. Habb was a weekend starter last year, shut down by arm injury, and he actually had Tommy John surgery. And really now, as Billy mentioned, is the closer. 2 saves in his 8 relief appearances. Has not surrendered a run over those 7 2/3. Coach Sheetinger telling us it is great to see him back and healthy. These are the kind of situations for which they need him. The 0-2 curveball outside. Tried to get him to fish. Nothing doing there for Leo.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you'd love to have him in the starting rotation, but just to have him at all after a surgery like that is really key, and really just a weapon to have for Georgia Gwinnett as you go into this World Series.
Just 4 outs left in this opening game for Mid-American Nazarene. Here's the 1-2. Nice job there by Leo staying alive.
Yeah, there's really nothing else he could have done with that pitch. Perfectly placed fastball in the outer half of the plate, and like we've talked about with Georgia Gwinnett, I mean, Mid-American Nazarene also doing that as well, spoiling good pitches, just to try to find that opportunity or see enough to where Georgia Gwinnett's pitching staff can make a slight mistake and throw a pitch that's a little bit more hittable.
Now Austin Bates, the catcher, wanting a word with Habb, probably a situation where they maybe making sure that the signals and the signs are all squared away.
Yeah, especially with the guy on second. And you've seen this at the professional level and even at the Division I level. There's teams where they've gone to just the walkie-talkie microphone, to where the catcher's got an earpiece, the pitcher's got a speaker in his hat, and that way there's no risk of sign stealing.
2 out. Tying run at second. The 1-2 pitch to Leo. Big sweeping curve up high.
Yeah, just not enough break to get it back down in the zone. And it's a good call by the home plate umpire there. That was up and stayed up.
Yeah.
But if he does that again, gets about 3 inches lower, he's going to get that call.
Soft liner right at the second baseman, Mcguire, and that will do it. But Mid-American Nazarene does come up with a couple runs here to cut it to 1, but they will have just 1 at bat left. 7-6, a good ball game in the opener of the Avista NAIA World Series. Bottom of the 8th here at Harris Field at Chef Stadium, as Eric Navarette goes back to work for Mid-American Nazarene, trying to keep this a 7-6 deficit in this, the first ever game for the Pioneers in Lewiston in their 50th year of existence. Finally, they're making it to Lewiston here. It'll be Blaze O'Sabin, the center fielder, the number 9 hitter. 9-1-2 hitters up for Georgia Gwinnett. Again, held scoreless by the relief staff of Mid-American Nazarene since the second inning.
Yeah, and you get your first taste of the that old unique re-entry rule where Randy Fernandez, who's pinch ran for in the top half of the inning, comes back out and assumes his familiar role at second base.
I think it's a good rule at the NAI level. See the courtesy runners for catchers as well, where the catchers can re-enter. And O'Sabin ahead 2-0 here against Navarette, who had a couple strikeouts. 1-2-3 inning when he came on in the 7th. 2-0 fastball, catches the inside edge. Dave Cotton alongside Billy Moon. It's great to have you with us here in Game 1 of the Avista NAIA World Series. A good one here to open things up. Fisted into shallow left field, and it'll be Drew Woodley hauling it in, 1 away.
That's exactly what you need if you're Navarette. Not only do you need outs at this point, but the last thing you want to do is turn it over to the top of the lineup with a runner on, and trying to keep it at a 1-run deficit. So good job coming out, getting a quick out, and now he's got his hands full with Mcguire, DeFreeze, and then if anybody were to get on, Morris.
Here's Mcguire, the second baseman. Struck by a pitch his last time up. And Navarette, the pitcher, actually specializes in that. He's hit a team-high 19 batters this year, nearly twice as many as any other on the team. But Mcguire here, ahead 2-0 in the count. Georgia Gwinnett, 5-0 last year here in Lewiston. Looking to repeat. Georgia Gwinnett they say they don't recruit a lot of players who bring much baggage. They recruit people who don't detract from the program. Jeremy Sheetinger, the head coach, told us. They just like those ball players and guys that fit into the culture. And as we talked about earlier in the game, this is a team that does a lot of mental work, visualization, meditation. The 2-2 kind of hacks it towards the shortstop, and 6-4 put out, 2 up, 2 down. Good start here. 8th inning for Navarette.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, to get to your point, I mean, culture is huge, right? Not only building a team and building a team that buys into your program and what you do, but also on campus as well. I mean, you can't detract from the, I guess, the presence of the baseball team on campus and the reputation of that, whether it be in the classroom, on campus, in the community. I mean, those are all really big parts to what Sheetinger is building and has built here at Georgia Gwinnett, and you cannot tell me that it had nothing to do with their championship last year. It's a way of life. You can't just turn it on when you get in between the white lines. You have to attack life the exact same way every single day, or else you're going to have those slip-ups on the diamond, and they've proven that culture has worked, and it works for them.
They were talking to him, and he said in his interview with Georgia Gwinnett AD, Darren Wilson, actually, he said he just crushed the interview. He said it might have been an out-of-body experience, but he just felt so good about it. And he just talked about how he could build the program. Great guy to talk to. I mean, I don't know the guy, and he's already calling me buddy and brother. The 1-2 just barely stays alive. He actually shot a segment with one of the podcasts he was doing with that athletic director, and later flew out here to watch the 2019 NAIA World Series. And after Gwinnett was eliminated, Coach Stromdahl at the time said, hey, go ahead and apply. Sure enough, he did and got it. It's going to be a tough play here for Sherwood, and not in time is the throw to get DeFries. He's aboard now for the 3rd time today. The previous 2 times, he has stolen second.
Yeah, that's a play that, I mean, gosh, credit Bryce for trying to get the out over there and getting a throw on line, but that's one with the speed of DeFries, how it just found a hole in the infield. You almost eat that and keep him at first base, 100% probability that you don't throw it away if you don't throw it at all. So, yeah, one of those you just got to live and go to the next pitch.
Here's Livingston Morris, the number 3 hitter. As you see there, 1 for 3. Also has a sac fly RBI. Georgia Gwinnett, 7 runs, 11 hits, no errors. Mid-American Nazarene, 6 runs, 10 hits, 1 error. There goes the runner, and DeFries is cut down. So DeFries cut down for just the 9th time this season. And that will set the stage for the top of the 9th as Mid-American Nazarene, down by just 1 run, will try to tie this game or take the lead. And welcome back to Harris Field at Sheff Stadium. The rain has held off thus far in Game 1 of the Avista NAIA World Series. Dave Cotton alongside former Zags pitcher Billy Moon. Hope you've enjoyed this one. And I'll tell you what, we've got a compelling 9th inning here. Mid-American Nazarene making its first appearance here in the Avista NAIA World Series, down by 1 run here in the final at bat.
Yeah, and quite honestly, they've been the better team for 6 innings.
Yeah.
So they found a way, put up zeros on the board ever since the 2nd, as well as found a way to chip their way back into this game, and now they're just one run away from tying this thing. Now they've got a tall test with Hobb on the plate on the mound here, but this is exactly, given where they were in the 2nd inning, they would absolutely take this situation right now.
So to the 9-1-2 hitter, starting with Frank Vogel, the first baseman, who has doubled in this game. He's 1 for 3. Hab, as you see Vogel's numbers here today, Hab was on the mound when the Grizzlies punched their ticket to Lewiston, finishing off that 13-1 win over the number 1 seed in the Lawrenceville bracket, Hope International, throwing a scoreless ninth, hoping for a repeat here in Lewiston. The 0-1 to Vogel. Quickly ahead 0-2, and it might be playable in foul ground, out of play. Next game coming up in just a little bit, LSU Shreveport against Bellevue, Nebraska, the 4 and 5 seeds respectively here in Lewiston. Meantime, the winner of this game moves on to face the number 1 seed, Southeastern of Florida. That'll be tomorrow afternoon, slated for a 3 o'clock start. Hab has Vogel in an 0-2 hole. What's coming next? Fastball. Fouled away.
It'll be interesting to see. All these foul balls have been to the opposite field on that fastball. So, I mean, I know the breaking ball is dirty and his go-to pitch up in the count, but last thing you want to do is miss and speed up Vogel's bat. That was a good cutter in there. So, I mean, nothing Frank could do with that pitch other than just let it go.
Yeah, 0-2, good idea to try to get him to go fishing. He did not. Fastball fisted. Second baseman Mcguire is going to have to hurry and retires that leadoff batter. A critical out here for Georgia Gwinnett in the 9th.
Yeah, trusting that fastball and located it well once again on the inside part of the plate. Jams Vogel, gets really a slow roller to second base, had to quickly make that transfer and underhand throw. But other than that, a fairly routine play.
Ryan Thompson, a word with the umpire here. Be Drew Woodley, the leadoff hitter, the left fielder. And Woodley looking for his first hit of the ball game. He struck out twice and a couple of flyouts. But one swing will tie this game technically. Hab on in relief of Ryan Mann, who went 1 2/3. Gave up 2 earned runs. Of the 8 batters that he faced, gave up 3 hits, including that 1 home run. It's all on Hab now. The 0-1 to Woodley. Good heat there. He's got Woodley in an 0-2 hole.
Yeah, really sticking with that fastball. Trusts it, locating it well. And anytime you can go up 0-2. And
come right back tomorrow morning for another 8:30 game. They'll play the loser of this next game coming up between LSU Shreveport, back here for the 2nd straight year, against Bellevue of Nebraska. It'll be Dennis Patchen and Billy Moon along the way, coming up about an hour or less here at Harris Field. But a good one, Billy, for this first game here at the Avista NAIA World Series.
Yeah, credit to Gavin Heltzmas getting the win, and really after a rough start bouncing back and giving 6 strong series such as this. But you know, they have something to build on. They were able to chip away. They were down 7-2 or 7-3 early on, and threw up zeros all the way through, and gave the offense a chance to win, just unfortunately couldn't come through in the end.
Well, we hope you enjoyed it. A good way to start things here in Lewiston, as the fans will take a little breather and the crowd continuing to build. But it's Georgia Gwinnett in their quest to be number 1 again, as they take care of Mid-American Nazarene 7-6 here at Harris Field. Again, coming up in a little less than an hour, it'll be LSU Shreveport against